I walk through frozen sands, through the flames of burning lands, my feet are torn, they're torn to strands. I will not thirst as I cross the raging sea. Waves are crashing over me. They drag me down, they drag me down. But I will not drown. They'll know my name. After the storms are passing through, they'll know my name. When they've forgotten all about you, they'll know my name. After the storms are passing through, they'll know my name. My name. And I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again. I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again. And I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again. I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again. I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again. I shall rise, oh well, I shall rise again and again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the final round of the 2016 GPVWC Super League season. There are 2 drivers left in championship contention, only 2 teams left in championship contention, and 1 race will separate who wins which from who. It is getting a bit real here in Sao Paulo, Brazil now, as Eros Masciulli and David Fidock are about to fight it out for the Drivers' Championship, and Adonis Engineering and Nordstein Racing for the Teams' Championship. Eros Masciulli going for his first Drivers' Championship, David Fidock is second, and Adonis trying to win it in only the second year of Super League, and Nordstein going for victory once again. I'm Josh Anderson. As ever this season, I'll be taking you through the action here at the track. No Kasper Kolodziejczyk, unfortunately, on commentary, but we do have an Argo today on cameras, and joining me in the comments box for the final race of the season, Nicolas Hillebrand. Nicolas, welcome to the commentary booth once again, and it just feels a little bit real now, doesn't it, this fight for the championship?
Thanks for welcoming me here, Josh. It is indeed a very close battle, not only in the Drivers' Championship, which is separated by 5 points at the moment, and but also in the Constructors' Championship of 2 teams, only 2 points apart, and I'm pretty sure over the 71 laps here today we'll see an interesting race.
Yeah, looking to be a very interesting one indeed. 71 laps of Sao Paulo to go. We're in qualifying as it stands. And speaking of Norton drivers, Florian Gaia is on pole for the Norwegian outfit. And it's all looking good for him. He's on a 1:11.877. Fran Lopez, the ever-present Spaniard, just behind. Just 0.027 seconds behind. Oh, really not that far behind. Daniel Brimmer's within a 10th as well at the moment. But there are still 10 minutes left to go in this session, and I would like to run through the championship standings as it stands. Eros Masciulli has a 5-point lead over David Fidock. He is on 274 points 269. If Eros Masciulli finishes within the top 2 of this race, he has won the championship, and David Fidock can do nothing to stop that. Fidock needs a win to guarantee himself a shot the title without worrying about countback, and Eros Masciulli then would have to finish outside of the top 2, because if Eros Masciulli finishes second and David Fidock wins it, Masciulli will still win on countback. So he needs to win this or finish second, David Fidock, realistically, to stand a chance of winning. The Constructors' Championship comes down to Nordstrom and Adonis. Vodbull are out of it, and it's all down to these two teams. Adonis Engineering have the advantage, as it's Nordstrom Racing who need to have one car in a winning position to win this race. Otherwise, the championship will go to Adonis on countback. It's all very interesting, isn't it, Nicolas? Anyone could win it, but it's advantage Adonis.
Yes, definitely. We have to observe qualifying at first, obviously. Starting position in the race is, of course, always a very interesting one. You can't win the race into the first corner, but you, well, you can most definitely lose it. And at the moment, we've got, I think, both championship... Oh, no, wait, sorry. We've got... where is he? There we go. Masciulli hasn't set a fast lap yet, sorry. Now he is in 8th place, 1:12.577. Not quite on pace yet, but I'm pretty sure he'll try and settle this. But overall in the championship standings, pace-wise, looking at the moment, it could be very close, as Florian Gaia from Nordstrom Racing is on pole position at the moment.
Yeah, but thinking of pole position, it is interesting to note either of our championship contenders will be on pole position for this race. Both have back of the grid penalties to serve. It is interesting to note that Jarl Tyen has picked up one from Mexico, as has Dawe Tapper. Manuel Gagzella has one, Ben Horrell has one, Roy Schroten, whose final Super League races today, has one. And that is a shame about Roy. He's been with us for a long time, and it's a shame to hear he's retiring from Super League. He has the back of the grid penalty to serve. Daniel Brewer does, so he will not gain pole position even if he takes it. Michael Francesconi has a 10-place grid penalty for failing to respect pit lane etiquette. And David Fidock and Eros Masciulli both have back of the grid drops. So it's going to be interesting to see who starts where this race. Neither of our championship contenders will be on pole, and both will be quite near the back though. So it could end up being one needs to seriously outscore the other. Time will tell how that works, but see how it goes as qualifying continues to elapse. Gaia currently still leads it, of course, from Lopez, from Brewer, from DeVos, from Francesconi. And, well, the thing about qualifying, especially in a circuit like this, Nico, it's not the easiest circuit in the world to overtake on, but there are opportunities there. So qualifying can be quite important, especially with the threat of rain in the air.
Yes, definitely. Brazil is always well known for dynamic weather here. In the last couple of years, we had in real F1 and in GPV as well, I think, we had quite a couple of races deciding the championships, which have been quite interesting to watch. I think in real F1, the most obvious ones would have been, for example, 2008 with the chaotic rain race. And overall, I think you can never really know what is going to happen with the weather. Yeah, I think we have a sunny forecast so far. But then again, well, it's Brazil. We have quite interesting weather here, and it's certainly going to be interesting.
Yep, indeed. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. Threat of rain in the air, scattered showers in the area. It is all going to be an interesting qualifying session, third with 5 and a bit minutes to go left in it. And of course, after this, we'll be talking to Mike Pittman once more this season as part of our Super League technical chat. And we'll be talking to him about all things technical and his predictions for the title. And he is absolutely on it. And Mike Pittman, you know, it's great to have him with us. He knows so much. He's so dedicated to Tom Lewis. And it's great to have him with us. A brilliant part of the broadcast. I'm sure one will hope to retain in 2017 because it is our unique part, Super League. You don't get it anywhere else. Car development like this. Engine development, individual parts on the chassis. It is so in-depth, and it wants to make Super League so special. It's what can make this race so special. All of the teams will have done their best this season to develop their cars, and it's going to be interesting to see who will come out on top in a field where the cars can be quite different. Notable additions to this race. Rudy Van Buren is making his Super League return after leaving partway through the season. He's with Vodball Racing and currently in P7, although the Dutchman was fantastically quick in his run with Midnight Motorsports early in the season. Keep an eye on Van Buren. He should be right up there with the top of them. Risto Caput comes back as well for Vodball. He will be hoping to make some serious roads on everyone else as well. Risto, of course, our world GT champion. His first GPVWC title. Hard to believe it, but he's only won the one. But that doesn't stop him from being exceptionally quick. Risto Caput want to watch as well. Of course, our two championship challengers, Eros Masciulli and David Fidock, will be up there and trying to beat each other. Keep an eye on Roy Schroten in what will be his final Super League race. Hopefully he'll be able to go out with some good results in qualifying and the race. And, of course, keep an eye on some of the newer drivers like Maciek Mlinek in the Wouters Automotive. And other drivers also. Mark Hutchinson in that Red Archer car as well. For Daniel Benefield, I believe, coming back to the series as Mark. So a lot of drivers we should be looking out for this race, and similarly, several battles for track. With 3 minutes to go in the qualifying session, Fran Lopez has overhauled Gaia. Florian Gaia has just responded by going 2/10 quicker on a 1:11.5. It's crucial for Nordstein they get the quickest time possible to try and retain some lead in the Drivers' Championship and the Team's Championship. Because remember, they have to have at least one car winning that. Well, they can only win one car can win a race. But nonetheless, one car of those two has to win. Otherwise, they cannot win the Team's Championship.
We see David Fidock is still in the pits. Still hasn't set the fastest lap, well, or any quick lap at the moment. 2 minutes 32 to go.
Yep, 2 minutes 32 in the session, and well, if the two going 2/10 quicker than Lopez wasn't a statement, I don't know when his should have come to this race prepared. They are really on it today, and well, they want to win the Teams Championship. That is just pretty much all that there is, isn't it? They want to win the teams, and they're going to try. Florian Gaia, of course, multiple race winner here in Super League, really has found form this season. The best seasons of his career, 2016, and I'm sure he'll hope to end it with a win himself. And well, Nordstein have made a resurgence ever since they became the sole customer of their own factory engines, the Martex unit. They've come on leaps and bounds with it. They don't seem to have been affected by the lack of data at all. They've just made their engines and worked with them, and they have ultimately benefited from being in-house engine creators and not selling those to anyone else. Bit of a paradox, really. You'd expect more customers is more data, which is better engines, but Nordstein have booked the trend here and really come on this season with their engines. Fran Lopez's qualifying session is going to have one more flying lap in it, as I assume most of the drivers will be the same case here. Michael Francesconi, who will serve a 10th-place grid top, is currently third. And Daniel Brewer, of course, is in fourth, but I believe he's got back in the grid as well as mentioned. So with a minute to go in qualifying, it's going to be last-ditch laps for most drivers.
And David Fidock, now having missed his chance to set a flying lap in qualifying.
Yep, I don't think he's bothered because of the back of the grid, but that means Michael Francesconi and Eros Masciulli will both start ahead of him. Maybe he wants to try, maybe, because someone who's got to get the points, that is not necessarily the best strategy in the world. But maybe he's planning on outracing Eros here. Maybe he's trying to get him in the race rather than qualifying. Either which way, this is going to be an interesting little quali session as it comes to an end, and we're going to see who gets what. Florian Gaia will get one more flying lap. I think Fran Lopez will get one more after this. Most drivers are on the final lap now, though. And it's going to be key to see who does what. Of course, keep your comments coming in the final, and we do want obviously hear who your predictions for championships are, as time has now elapsed in the session, so last laps for all drivers. And do you think he's gonna get enough of a gap here, Fran Lopez, to get pole again, Nico?
It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. Of course, there's now even more rubber laid down, but as everyone is slowly coming into the end of the session, it's I'm not really sure if Fran Lopez is going to be fast enough to, gain another 2.2 tenths at least on the rest of the lap.
Yeah, and well, he's got to do a good job here, but we'll see how he does. Lopez, in terms of the timing, is not gone fast enough in the first sector to go purple. That belongs to Florian Gaia, who has not obviously improved on his time, but Lopez is 2 seconds off in sector 1. He's gone purple in sector 2 though, so he gets a bit squiggly out of it. Well, that might be the lap,
20.
but if there's a chance, but it's not looking as good anymore because of that exit. He's got to try though, Fran Lopez. Is he going to get a pole? No, he's not. That turn to find it. He got
Turn
wiggly
13.
out of the turn, and that to find it for him. Looking like a Gaia pole position here in Sao Paulo. Well, this took a bit of an interesting turn then, didn't it, Nico?
Yeah, of course it's going to help Nordstrom Racing a little bit more to maybe have chances of winning the Constructors' Championship. Gaia and Fidock are both in the race, but we'll have the entire field basically in a huge Nordstrom Racing sandwich then. Gaia starting on pole and Fidock starting last.
Yep, well, it's higher grid as in the Nordstrom sandwich. Well, actually, you don't call a sandwich by its bread. It's Nordstrom bread. In the rest of the parts of the sandwich. Must be said. Going to be a bit of an interesting one. And speaking of interesting, we have Mr. Interesting about to join us. Hello, Mike Pittman.
Hello, Josh.
Hello indeed. Now, Gaia on pole in a race that Nordstrom need to have a car in the win in has got to be an advantage.
Oh, Guy's done what he needs to do for his team. Just he needs to run off into the distance for Nords to have any chance at this, really.
Yeah, he needs to win this race for Nordstrom to shot the team's title, because otherwise Adonis will win on countback. And of course, we need to, well, they need that, but we need to start Super League technical chat for the final time this season. We need to sort technical stuff. And we talked about Battle Grids, how Eros Masciulli and David Fidock have them. But if we look at the engines, as we do sometimes, we'll find both cars have very fresh engines. 90% in Fidock's car and 100%. Brand new engine for Gaia will be going for the win then. And in the Adonis cars, it's 74 and 68, surprisingly.
I think everyone has bought their freshest engines they can. There's no point in saving them now. This is it. So that says to me that Adonis, they're probably their best engines. They haven't had many DNFs. They've been there every race. So they probably just used them, to be honest. But yeah, it could give Guy a little bit of an advantage. But he's not realistically racing the Adonis this race. He's racing Lopez.
Yep, it is pretty much a big fight wherever you look between these two. And of course, Eros will start ahead of David. Fidock did not set a qualifying lap, so he will start ahead. And
That's
we're
a
going to
very
see
odd
how this
decision,
runs.
to be honest. A massively odd decision by David, but I'm sure he can explain it afterwards. But yeah, and why wouldn't you want to? There's so many people who are back of the grids. Why wouldn't you want to try and get 3 or 4 places up in the grid?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting one, especially for you. Your team aren't in it, your drivers aren't in it, but your engines are. Valiant, because of course powering the Adonis team. And, well, Maltex have made gains on the power front recently. They're out at 47 base power. They've worked on fuel consumption and base mapping. In terms of actual stats, you are higher on base power by quite a bit. But fuel consumption, they do have you beat as well as mapping. So maybe going for a bit more of an aggressive strategy on the fuel front here, Maltex.
Yeah, you only need the fuel if you've got more maps, so actually ours balances out. When you look at them overall, we have developed it more. So we've got, we finished the year with the most developed car and the most developed engine. I can't see what more as a team we could have done for everyone. We've got an awful lot of Valiant suppliers. Adonis doing fantastically with it. So yes, it'd be nice to have a Valiant winner. We had a Valiant Drivers' Champion last year, so why not this year?
Yep, indeed. And, well, it could happen. We're going to have a Maltex powered champion. We're going to have David Fidock as a double champion. Eros Masciulli's a champion on debut. Anything could happen. And looking at the cars that they have, Obviously, Vodball miles ahead in terms of, well, not miles ahead, you're about 40 points ahead in overall development. But Noljan have a slight overall advantage on Adonis. But that, of course, we know is thanks to their pit times, which Adonis have not improved. In terms of front downforce, rear downforce, differential diffuser downforce, weight, mass, drag on the body, they're all the same. But Adonis front and rear drag maxed out compared to the slightly less drag upgraded on the Noljan, but improved pit tyre change. So they'll have more drag, but they'll be able to pit quicker.
Yeah, I mean, it's the smallest, the minor gain, shall we say? So we did, to be honest, we've been testing all the cars this week. I don't know if anyone's seen us on the server, but we worked out that Adonis is about 0.2 of a second quicker than our car, and the Nordgen is a 0.1 ahead of us. So there's only a tenth between the two of them. But like you say, that's just in raw pace. There is the pit stop time. So if it's only a tenth, you could argue that Nordgen might make that up in a pit stop or two. So it really will be close. I know you haven't asked yet, but I actually think David might do this. And that's putting him against really what I should say. But he's been there, he's done it a couple of times. I haven't seen him riled on the forum for a bit. I know Eros did an amazing job last time out, but yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Well, what you should say is your opinion, I know as a team engine manager, you might want to have a bit of an interest in Valiant, but it's fair enough if you think Fidock might edge it. He does need a good result here. Remember, if Eros Masciulli finishes in the top 2, he's pretty much out of championship contention. David Fidock has to win, and then really pretty much hope that Masciulli does not tie him on points. Because if that happens, Eros will win on countback. So David Fidock needs quite something here. He needs to win if he's not going to win on points.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a tale of the second drivers in these teams. Yes, there's a team's championship. Even when you look at the driver's title, if Florian could win this for David, in all honesty, not necessarily win the race, but he could win the title for David. There's many different ways. I mean, I haven't got time to go into all the possible options here, but yeah, really, if he can get away and lead from the front, he controls the whole race, and that can actually benefit David massively. I put 2 fast guys in to sort of throw a spanner in the works for everybody as well. Obviously, I'd like us to go run away with 1-2 and completely throw it up in the air as well.
Well, I was talking about that with your lineup with Bristol Captain and Rudy Van Buren. It doesn't seem out of the bounds that it will be a oddball 1-2 to end the season with. Of course, we saw Rudy with Midnight early this season. Absolutely stunning speed from the Dutchman. Unfortunately, left after a few races into the season. And, well, Bristol Cabot, well, we've already seen his credentials in World GT and several other series this season. But he is up there with the best of them as well. Both very talented drivers. When it comes to the race, I'm sure we will see them at their best this race. In the final race of the season. But with it being the final race, how do you, as a team manager, think this year has gone? Obviously, Vodball have had a great year. You haven't won the team's title, but you've come very close, and you've had drivers like in the likes of Filipushka that arguably could have been up there in championship contention had they done the whole season.
Oh yeah, #real champion. There's so much. This season has been brilliant. Actually, it's been so even. We've had 3 teams arguably that were so close to each other that anyone could win. We've had I can't even think how many teams have won now. About 6 or 7. Like there's loads. Granted, a couple dropped out, but even all the way down the field, you've got people. You've got people like Parker. You've had Howell getting a 4th. You've had there's new teams have won. Gagzella won for a new team. It's very even. It's been fantastic, and I can only see that growing because there's we've lost a couple of experienced teams, granted, but there's a lot that can come through for next year and shake it up a little bit as well, rather than just having one team in. Having a few new ones makes it interesting. And again, there's going to be a new engine supplier, you presume. So on that basis, that throws a spanner in the works again for everything once more, and just all the uncertainty makes fantastic for the viewers, for us. Yes, I'd love us to run away with 1-2 every race, but actually that gets boring. There's got to be that challenge. It's got to be fun, and that's what you get here. It's not a runaway championship. It's so hard, as David's finding, to win multiple championships, or teams for that matter to win multiple championships. If we can keep challenging every year, then I'm a happy manager.
Well, that's what it's about, and no. It's always good to see that, people win stuff, and, well, we've had a very, very fierce title race this season between Adonis and Nordstjen. But interesting to see how it's going to pan out in the end, ultimately. And obviously, you've said who you think is going to win, and it's just becoming a bit real now at the end of the season. This final race, there's a lot to play for. It's all going to be decided, and it's become a thing almost for the Super Leagues to go down to the final race. And we have rain apparently. Apparently, it's now raining. That just was another spanner in the works. I said there was local storms.
If it's anything like last night, you're in for a treat.
Yeah, Super Cup was good last night. So much rain, but such good racing. And, well, we are in for a treat if it rains. But I'll tell you this, could throw a spanner or 7 in the works. And, well, spanners in the works can sometimes be interesting depending on the context. But either which way, it's looking to be a very, very good race. Thank you very much for joining us, Mike Pittman, by the way. I know you need to go back to your guys now, so I will let you do that.
Thanks very much. Have a great broadcast. It's been great working with you all year.
It's been a pleasure having you here as well. I'm hoping we're going to have you back in 2017.
Well, I'll be here.
I'm sure you will. Take care. And with that, it just becomes a little bit more real, doesn't it, Nico? Because we've talked about the technical stuff. We've learned what's what, and now we can take that into the race.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting now with rain confirmed.
And, hashtag rain confirmed.
Well, it'll also open up the possible strategies with the tires. Usually we'd only have softs and mediums here, and now we can even see the raindrops coming down here, right next to Eros Masciulli's his owner's car. We can even see raindrops coming down, but now we'll also have the 2 options of intermediates and rain tires, and I think this will be very interesting.
Yep, and we're going to see if it's declared a wet race by Chris Williamson, of course, race director. But we'll have to see if he does officially declare it a wet race, so both compounds don't have to be used if you use the wet tyre. And we will see if that happens. With the amount of rain there is, it could full well end up being that. And this could throw everything into jeopardy, because they might not have practiced as much in the wet if it's been dry. But to have it happen so close to the race start could be very key indeed. I mean, it is Super League, it is raining. I've not commentated on a rain race in a while, I don't believe, so this might be a little bit of an interesting thing to happen now of all times. Of course, we do have the championship fight to keep an eye on, and we'll do that this race. But with it being the final race of the season, you know, it just... there's a lot of hype coming around this time, because, you know, it's been so close and now it's coming to a bit of an end. And, well, obviously you haven't been here for the full season, Nico, but if you had to pick a favourite moment, what would it be?
Oh, that's hard to say.
It is, isn't it?
Obviously hard to say. For now, I can only say I'm quite glad that it starts raining now, because now we had every single driver participating in the dry qualifying. Everyone could show his complete and true pace, hopefully. And now we'll see, well, probably a race starting in the wet, which we don't even see anymore in recent, months in F1.
Yep, and that's why we're better. As time elapses in the session, and, well, we're about to get underway, and I'm excited. Are you, Nico?
It's definitely something to look forward to, and we'll see how everything looks after the first lap. And yeah, hopefully David Fidock will make a fight out of it, even though starting from last.
Yeah, it is all going to kick off very, very soon, and if you use intermediates or wet at any time, says Chris Williamson, the 2-tyre compound rule does not apply, so we'll need to keep an eye on that. It's all getting a little bit real here in Sao Paulo as we wait for the race to start. And, well, in the comments, who do you think is going to win the championship? Who do you think is going to win the race? Get commenting. We love to see your comments. All of the viewers who are watching this final race of 2016, I'm sure it is going to be an absolute treat. I think we're in for a really good one. Chris Williamson then just running through the drivers through the pre-race briefing for the final time this season before we actually start racing. And of course, Sao Paulo circuit awaits them. 71 laps of racing with rain thrown in for good measure. On this circuit should be an interesting one. Not easy to overtake, not too difficult to learn, but it's a shorter track. It's about 1 minute and 17 a lap in the dry in race fuel, I would imagine. So, you know, we are talking some not long laps. There's 71 of them. It's a difficult circuit in places and lots of interesting corners, lots of difficult corners. And I'm more hyped than I've ever been because this is the first time I'm ever going to call a Super League finale. I was here last year, but not as the lead commentator. This is the first time I've ever called Super League finale, and I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely exciting race to commentate on. And just in a few moments' time, I'm sure we will get to the race. I mean, it's Super League, isn't it, Nico? It's just something to get excited about.
Well,
That's how I
definitely.
can justify it.
We've got basically everything you know what you want as a racing driver in the circuit. So you've got 15 corners, ranging from low to high-speed corners. A lot of medium speed as well. We've got off-camber corners, we've got elevation, we've got straights, we've got everything you want. And then we have these conditions with, well, as we said before, and as we've seen before, very dynamic weather, as it often happens in this Brazilian Grand Prix. And yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting race to look forward to.
Yeah, if you are watching this for the first time, you're in for a special one. This is GPVWC Super League. We have 2 drivers fighting out for the championship. If you've watched before, you're in for a treat as well, because you'll know what's going on. And if you're not watching, what are you doing with your life? If you know anyone who's not watching, get them watching, because this is going to be an absolute brilliant way to end the season. Chris Williamson, our race director, has just moved us on to the countdown to the start of the race. We are 25 seconds away from the formation lap, and the live weather will be kicking in at the start of that. It is not raining for the moment, but it will do soon, and it will be back in a moment, the rain. So drivers going onto the grid, choosing the tyres, and making sure everything is all right before we actually start this final race of the season. I don't think I've been as excited for this as for a Super League race as a long time, but it is the finale. So I guess it's expected. Florian Gaia will lead us off on the formation lap. He has chosen the wet compound, and he will take pole position. The final race for Nordstjen Racing, in a race that Nordstjen have to win to have a chance at the team's championship. Fran Lopez has also picked the wet tyre for Red Archer VRT. He's in second place. Risto Cabot also on the wets with Rod Bull in third. Wet tyres also for Bart de Vos in fourth for Kernow Sport. Adrian McNaughton in the ever-present Storm Racing team, 5th also on the wets. Gergo Baldi, wets also for Wouters Automotive in 6th place. Tom Parker has chosen the dry compound. He is in 7th place for Green Stripes. Thomas Hinds making a return to Super League. Welcome, Tom. 8th on the wets for Woods Racing, stepping in for Lewis Redshaw. Michael Francesconi, 9th for Honest Engineering, and what will be a key race for the Dutch outfit. Tobias Olsen, all the way up in 10th. For Hawkeye, that is a great result. And of course, Hinds, Francesconi, well, Hinds was on the wets, I thought. Apparently, I think there's a problem with the tyres because everyone's gone back onto the dries again. But unless you've actually all started on the dry tyres, I'll check on race view.
I do believe everyone is on the dry tyres at the moment, on the softs.
Okay, right. Well, that's just my thingy then. Yeah, everyone is on the dries in this race. So, yep, so far everyone's on dry tyres. And the Chick Line 11th for Wouters Automotive, Sven de Vries 12th on the Hawkeye, Daniel Brewer 13th for Kernow, Rudy Van Buren on the mediums, 14th for Rod Bull, has the back of the grid to serve. Eros Masciulli has not left the pit lane. He's in the pits and he has not exited. Will he be starting for pits? That is interesting if he is. Mark Hutchinson 16th for Red Archer, Roy Shorten 17th for Woods, Ben Horrell 18th for Green Stripes, Dawei Tupper 19th for Nido, Emmanuel Gaxana 20th for Storm. David Fidock is on the grid in 21st for Nordstjen and needs to outrace, of course, as we said, Eros Masciulli, and Florian Gaia is on the pits. But why has Masciulli not left the pits? This could be key to the championship. It is beyond me why he's not left. I don't know what's going on here.
Contenders are starting from the back.
Well, David Fidock is starting from the back. Eros Masciulli would have out-qualified him if he'd gone, but he still hasn't left the pits as we go to what he has now. He's jumped out of the wets, I think. I think everyone has somehow gone to the wets. We have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and here's the final race. We are off and away. Eros Masciulli in the lead temporarily, but he's at the end of the pit lane. He is going to take the start, but from the pits as Fran Lopez leads him into turn 1. And we have the likes of Gaia following behind. Look at the good start from Kappa 2. McNaughton and DeVos finding out for P4. The rain is back, obviously. Tom Parker's got a stunning start into P6 and climbing the green stripes driver. And of course, Eros Masciulli, as soon as these guys have cleared the start, will leave the pits himself, but it's got ground make up. And oh, we got contact. Thomas Haynes involved there, going into Young Cow there. That's not Young Cow, sorry, that's the seat of Interlagos. Haynes getting involved in the contact there. I wonder what happened. I'm going to check the replay if you'd like to call the action, Nico.
That's one of the Adonis cars. That's Francesconi completely at the back. Now both Adonis cars at the very back of the field.
Yeah, I can't seem to check the live replay. It's gone on strike for us. Nonetheless, Florian Guy is still second, being chased by Bristol Kappa. Michael Francesconi has gone all the way to the back though, and is being chased by the now 21st Hins, but Masciulli has let Francesconi through there. Interestingly, he's either gone to the outside or let him through. Something has happened and Michael's gone through again. Obviously needs the win himself to really help Adonis in the team standings, but maybe he just made a mistake out of the corner. I don't know what's happening. I'm not even taking any notice anymore, to be honest, because I'm so confused as to what's going on. So much is happening in this first lap. Fran Lopez leading from Florian Gaia though, from Bristol Kappa, Bart DeVos, Tom Parker, Kilder Lobaldi, who's trying to get past Adrian McNaughton here and seems to have. Then Olsen and De Vries 8th and 9th for Hawkeye. What a result from that outfit so far. Rudy Van Buren 10th, Dan Brewer 11th, and well, as long as Fran Lopez is in first, it's not looking good in the teams for Nordstjen. Because remember, they need to win it. They need to win it, and well, obviously needs to do this well to win. Ayat will want to catch up to Lopez. But Lopez has had a stunning start though, hasn't he, Nico?
Lopez had definitely a good start, and overall I think through all the confusion and everything, with the weather and the collisions on the first lap, he profited quite a lot, and now he's trying to build a gap obviously to Gaia and behind him.
Yeah, he is trying to build a gap here. Bristol Kappa though trying to knock it down, and well, almost like the gap is a wall. And well, speaking of walls, well, we don't know what happened with the US elections, but let's not talk about that. Lopez is trying to build an even bigger wall gap to Fran Gaia as he extends his gap here, hoping on the first lap. The rate is coming down big time now, and the gap has been, well, cut actually to 1.2 seconds from 1.7. Is it going to go wrong for the dry tyre runners now? Which is pretty much everybody. The exception of Masciulli, who's on Intas.
I think this might have been of Eros Masciulli's strategy as well.
Could have all been part of the grand plan, but we'll have to wait and see. He might have intended to start from the pits so we could start on the Intas and then jump everybody. But he is quite a way back, let's not forget. He is 16 seconds back, which is not, well, I think it's about a pit stop. But the dry tyre runners are going to start to suffer. There is a dry spray, sort of, there is rain spray, but even some parts of the track in this rainstorm that we have going on. Lopez, of course, starting to try and gain the gap to Gaia. Both will be struggling in these increasingly wet conditions on the dry tyres. It's going to be pretty much whoever can keep it cool and not lose time is going to get this. But I think Lopez has made gains again on Gaia. So, advantage Lopez in these early runnings of the race, although there are still many, many laps to go here in Sao Paulo. Rain spray is real here in the virtual track, and Lopez has not pitted this lap. Gaia has not pitted this lap, neither has Capet. DeVos doesn't look to be, neither does Baldy. I think they're trying to see out a couple more laps before they do come in. And it's all going to go a little bit interestingly here as we wait to see what happens. Baldy Parker is a nice little fight, actually.
Now the spray is properly visible, especially behind Lopez and Gaia at the front.
Yeah, if we can have a look at this battle between 5 and 6, there's a lot of rain spray there between Baldy and Parker. Parker's having a stunning race for Green Stripes in 6th. He's made advantage of the conditions perfectly. He's absolutely got off to a good start and is holding it. Adrian McNaughton not really posing much of a threat at the moment, although he's doing a good job in the Storm car. And let's not forget 8th and 10th for the Hawkeyes as well. They've had a bit of a season to forget. Really starting to claw back the points at the end of the season.
David Fidock, having started from last on the grid, is now up into 12th place already on the medium tyres.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Eros Masciulli 6 seconds behind. At this point, Fidock is going to gain 4 points, which won't be enough. He needs higher than what he's got given the circumstances. because he has to outscore and beat Eros Masciulli by at least 6 points. If he wants this championship for himself, that is.
This will be very interesting now on the pit strategies, especially with Masciulli already been on the intermediate tires, and well, now I have to say when the other people in the field will come into pit.
We will have to say, indeed, and Eros Masciulli himself is currently being chased by Rudy Van Buren, who must not have had a very good start to the race. They are back in 20th and 21st, right at the back, and Hutchinson Gagzala's gone off in front of them, mind. That's going to promote them up a place. It is a bit of an interesting battle, even though it's further down. It does involve one of our championship leaders, Rudy Van Buren, trying to add pain to the pain that's already been given to Eros Masciulli. Trying to go down the outside here at the turn 4. Not going to work out for the Dutchman, but he has got Emmanuel Gagzala there, who he gets through past nice and easily.
And David Tapper is off a little bit there, end turn 6.
Yeah, Tapper's gone off and Malinek has gone through. Masciulli will catch up to him, and it's all going to be a bit of a chase now for him. And, well, speaking of chases...
Tobias Olsen's off as well, in turn 11.
Yeah, Olsen has had enough, yes. David Fidock's chasing Ben Horrell, who's chasing Olsen here for P11. I'm just trying to see if there's any further battles going on up the field. Baldy Parker, McNaughton has is Adrian McNaughton here? Oh, contact, and oh, dearie me, that's forced Baldy a little bit haywire there, but he was trying to go past Baldy and Parker in the same in the same length of the back straight and final corner. Although Baldy, oh well, locks it under brake and it goes into McNaughton. Nothing could be done there, unfortunately. A mistake on Baldy's part, just locked the brakes and slid out. That is how dangerous these track conditions can be if you're not on the right tyres. And you'd think now people will have to be starting to thinking of going to the Inters because there is no dry line anymore. And Tom Parker's up to fourth in all this.
And we've got the first people going on the wet tyres. Malinek is in the pits. Van Buren...
Malinek in on wets, Van Buren in on wets, Hutchinson's missed his pit box, and Roy Schroen's out on Inters. This is a bit of a disaster for Hutchinson.
Francesconi just left the pits as well on wet tyres.
Yeah, Francesconi on wets. I think you'll probably find a lot of people come in now for the wet tyres. Watch the likes of Gaia, watch the likes of Lopez, and then Masciulli as well, and Fidock. These will all be the keys for are we going to pit or not. Given that Mark Hutchinson just tried to come in, yep, here comes Lopez. Gaia, I expect, will follow suit, and does not. He's going to gamble one more lap. Bart DeVos is coming in, though. Tom Parker, I don't know what Parker will do. It looks like he's not going to, he is going to come in. McNaughton's not, though.
De Vries coming in.
De Vries from 6th, Brewer from 7th, Baldy from 8th, Fidock jumps. David Fidock takes the opportunity to jump, Hins does not. Horrell does not. Cappett's already on wet. Masciulli on Inters. Gagzala on the softs does not. Olsen decides to. Dawe Tapper, I'm sure, will make a decision too, but we have cars coming out. Ayer is on the soft still. McNaughton, Lopez, Hins, Horrell, top 5 because of not pitting, but of the pitters, Tom Parker leads them.
And Fidock has been jumped out by...
Oh, yes, by Baldy. He has been jumped by Gilgo Baldy in all this.
Oh, and side by side in the pit exit.
Well, Baldy does win out there, but David Fidock will look for an taking opportunity, I am sure. Maybe Gaia just wants to try and pull out an advantage. Maybe he thinks he still has time on those softs before he starts losing time.
Guy seems to be brightening up again.
It does. The rain seems to have mildened, but it is still raining. And obviously, taking advantage of that in the moment, Flo Gaia has won several races this season, needs to win this one for Norton to stand a chance at the teams. And now he's going to come in. Fran Lopez will probably inherit race lead from him then. Oh, he is on the intermediates, interestingly, Fran. Not the full wets. So he will stay out, but he's not necessarily on the best tyre unless he's anticipating it lightening out again. With the skies this blue, he might do. He does overtake. McNaughton still hasn't pitted. Gaia does pit. Hutchinson is out of the race. Capit on wets. Hins comes in. Horrell comes in. Gagzala comes in. Actually, Gagzala stayed out, sorry. And DeVos has stayed out. Tom Parker is going to jump up to 8th. And obviously with Sven de Vries in 9th and the Hawkeye behind Brewer in 10th. Getting a little bit interesting. But where is Eros Masciulli in all this? He is currently residing in P6. He's jumped a lot of people, as you think his plan might have been. Where's David Fidock? In 11th.
Hutchinson out, lost control in the center S. Came in sideways, tried to catch a car and sadly didn't manage to. So an early end for Hutchinson's race.
As it stands at the moment, Eros Masciulli will jump David Fidock even more. He'll go to 10 points. Remember, Fidock has to win over Masciulli by 6 points or more to win the Drivers' Championship. As we have a car, I thought we had a car off ahead. We evidently don't, of David Fidock. He is obviously in 11th, as I said. Gaia has really paid the price here. He's gone down into 4th, and Emmanuel Gagzela's on and off. Masciulli goes into 5th. Goes from bad to worse for Fidock. He's pretty much looking at a situation where he has to somehow win this. And he's got to gain 10 places to do so. The early runnings of this race, it's not likely, but it is raining, so anything can happen. Let's not forget that as we continue to proceed through this race.
We're now in lap 9, and Lopez is already soon coming up to lap Rudy Van Buren in 20th place.
Yeah, Van Buren has not had the race he wanted here. Hopefully it won't, hopefully he'll be able to make some sort of comeback, because Vodball have Capit in 3rd, who's doing a great job. Capit just avoids the spawn agent McNaughton. I think McNaughton needs to come in now, because Masciulli goes through again. DeVos goes through. Adrian has to come in to change, because those slicks are not working out for him anymore.
And it got darker again.
Oh, and he's just crashed into the wall again! Yeah, this is getting very dangerous for McNaughton now. He avoids his teammate, has to come in soon, you'd think, and probably will do at the end of this lap. Gagzella up in his 6th, Sven de Vries 7th, Brewer 8th. Eros Masciulli is 4th though. Look how high he is, and at this point, it's got to be a winner a second for Fidock. And David Fidock, well, he's ahead in terms of McNaughton, but he's way behind. He is a full load of time behind. He is about 7 seconds behind Eros at the moment.
And Dover Topper in this Ninja racing car again in the pits already.
But remember that Eros is on intermediate and Fidock on 4 wets, so if it rains more, it benefits him.
Oh.
He will be hoping it rains more, and Eros will be hoping it doesn't.
McNaughton going over the grass off turn 12.
Yeah, he is really struggling here, McNaughton. I think he needs to come in for new tyres, in for rain-related tyres as well. As David Fidock starting to cut the gap on Brewer and de Vries here. And speaking of Brewer and de Vries, both of them will go down it for P7. Tom Parker in the pits, but Fidock closing down on this duo.
Malinick almost stuck it in the wall there after turn 13.
Oh. Well, Brewer's gone through on de Vries here into turn 4. Sven will be hoping to retake it, but Fidock, look how close he is. I'm hoping we're getting on board with David Fidock, because how close he is to them. Coming through.
Spun in the center S, and Holson just barely hit him out of the way. Could go nowhere there.
Well, yeah, not looking good for him at all. Tobias Olsen, luckily, though, Sven de Vries' teammate is in P8. Fidock chasing through, pinning the 08, Pico de Pato here. And, bit of a skid on from de Vries. You see, it is difficult in these wet conditions, even with the right tyres. But there's a bit of a train forming behind Emmanuel Gagzella, because Brewer is catching up, de Vries is catching up. I expect Gagzella will come in soon. Then it'll be Brewer, de Vries, Fidock as Hins behind gets into a half spin. Luckily, Michael Francesconi a ways behind yet, although that gap has decreased since that spin. And, well, keep an eye on David Fidock here going on Sven de Vries. Far superior car in that Nordstrom versus the Hawkeye. Don't think Sven is battling it too much as Fidock goes through for P7. Is he going to break for the turn? Oh, here comes Sven though! Just holding it through turn 1. And that was a lucky save from Sven de Vries, although Fidock is chasing here.
Oh, and sideways again through the turn 3.
Yeah, needs to try to make sure he doesn't get in the way too much here, Sven, because this is, I think he's just pulled over to the side here. Oh, he's getting a slightly, he wants this position, does Sven, goes to the inside, and slides it, and David Fidock goes through. And I think that is game over now for Sven de Vries. He tried to defend, he defended fairly, but ultimately David Fidock just too quick. Well, must be said, getting a bit interesting now. Because he's getting closer to Eros Masciulli. Manu Gaxella has come into the pits for wets. Adrian Renault has come in for wets, obviously. The gap between Lopez and Capit is 15 seconds. That's how much it's paid off for Lopez, this strategy. Mind you, Masciulli DeVos, not a far fight. Not far away from each other is Masciulli DeVos.
And it's a fight of tires again.
Yeah.
Masciulli on the intermediates against DeVos on the wets.
It is, yep. Absolutely, indeed. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's just got to that point where it's just you just want to concentrate on the race. Here's Lopez gets very twitchy out of Ferradura down, or out of the Interlagos into Ferradura rather. Get a bit twitchy now. All those in are starting to become the worst tyre. Not really looking good for Lopez if he's getting that twitchy again. Oh, even more twitchy. He's getting all of the reactions going on. Having to apply that opposite lock even. Why did I say oppo? I don't know. But Lopez is having to apply opposite lock here to try and stop the car from spinning on those inters. Maybe it's time to come on the wet tyre. And, well, he won't probably be that far behind Bristol Capit when he does. But it's going to put Eros Masciulli maybe at the third.
And to turn one, we had an Adonis in the wall. That was Michael Francesconi trying to stay side by side with Cella. And, just barely tried to hold on there, hit the side wall and spun off. So everyone is really struggling for grip at the moment.
Yeah, it's one of those races where you have to look up and down the whole field because there's so much happening. Lopez obviously out there on the inters from Capit. Is he actually gaining on Capit? Because if he's not, yeah, he's gaining on Bristol Capit despite having been so much twitchiness. So maybe he doesn't see the need to switch over. Maybe he doesn't see the need if he's gaining, and rightfully so if he is gaining. I think Florian Bayer has gone up in the third and all. Yep, he is in third, quite a way ahead of Eros Masciulli. Well, actually, there's only a couple of seconds in it. But David Fidock's starting to close in on Brewer now and close in on Eros maybe by that logic. Mind you, David Fidock, in terms of lap times, is currently a second a lap quicker than Eros Masciulli. So, arguably, the wet tyre at the tyre to be on. Even though Fran Lopez is making use of it to beat Bristol Capit. Eros Masciulli's actually just gone off, in fact, he's had a bit of an off there. Bartamos goes through, Brewer goes nearly through. It's going to be in with a shout, and David Fidock all of a sudden has got even closer. He knows he's closing in on Eros. He knows he's got the pace. Can we see a battle between the two championship rivals? Would be interesting if we could, especially on two different compounds, Nico.
Lap 13 so far, and it's already tightening up again. But it's loosened up where it seemed lost already for David Fidock, and now it's very tight in again. I'm more interested at the moment to see how often it's going to tighten up and, relax a bit again. So this is really interesting so far.
Yeah, indeed, and could be an interesting race for sure. I mean, look, the gap between Masciulli and Fidock now, I would wager, is 3.5 seconds. That's how close it is, even though it doesn't look it. Daniel Brewer is the only thing standing between David Fidock and his championship rival. And I can tell you this, there is no love lost whatsoever between the two of them. Both will want to beat each other. Obviously, going to try and keep it as civil as they can between them. Because that's what we like to see. But, and not just that because that's kind of what's legal. But David Fidock, we know is a consistent driver. We know he's a fair driver. And we know he'll try his hardest to get past Eros. But he's got to get past Dan Brewer before he can do any of that.
Just seeing now, it's a bit late on that. You have lost another driver here on the
Oh yes, we've lost Dawe Tapper. He's out for Nijo.
From lap 9 already though, so very sad to see there.
Yep, sad to see Dawe end his last race of this season with a retirement. And same for Nijo as well. Not been a great season for them, but they have done okay, I guess, in places. Picked up another few points. Mind you, last laps show that Eros Masciulli is now way down on Fidock, although he did make that mistake. Maybe that inner tyre is not working out for Eros. I mean, the gap between him and Daniel Brewer now is basically a second. As Brewer gets a bit twitchy gets a bit twitchy out of young Carl there. Fidock won't have DRS because it's raining, but he can probably sense he's starting to close in as Eros Masciulli come into the pits. Fidock grabs the lead over them two. Eros has called it a day. He knows that he's dropping too much time, and he's going to drop positions too. Sven de Vries will go through. Emmanuel Gaxella might have a chance. Going to be interesting to see. Tom Parker out. Parker out of the race. That is unfortunate as well. Problems with suspension. Have probably crashed. That is unfortunate for him though as well. Brewer Fidock continues on. Michael Francesconi will not get ahead. But Eros Masciulli has come out 9th and David Fidock 6th. And that is not enough of a buffer. As Fidock here. But Fidock goes on down Brewer and gets through. Brewer actually gets a little bit twitchy. And that's what's helped that. Fidock now 5th to Masciulli's 9th. And there is a gap of 4 points between that. It's not enough.
Oh.
David Fidock needs to get the Bart DeVos. And then even the Gaia. That's assuming Masciulli doesn't get past the likes of Gaxella and de Vries.
Tom Parker DNF'd after an accident with Thomas
I pointed that out.
And Hinz just, is now reaching the pit lane. Very unlucky him in there. Just didn't have enough grip on the soft tyres anymore.
Tom had a fantastic start, but it just, again, he dropped off after the time came for wets. And that is unfortunate. Well, Brewer's not really anywhere near David Fidock at the moment. As Brewer does come into the pits here, maybe decided that something is up. Maybe he doesn't have any visible damage. Maybe something is not working out for him though. But he is now going to gain. Sven de Vries is going to go to 6th for Hawkeye. I mean, this is a dream for Wookie Hoekstra's team. I mean, when was the last time we saw Hawkeye this far up? It was last year. So to be here again is going to be great for the Dutch the Dutch run outfit, English-based team. And of course, Fren, very prominent figure in GPV, especially in Super Cup. Lesser known for his Super League exploits, but he's doing a phenomenal job here. Having a great race for Hawkeye. 6th place brings 10 points, which will put them on 30, which won't help them jump Nijo, but it will give them something to shout about. And they haven't had a lot to shout about this race, although Gaxella is about to go through on him. I think Sven made a mistake. Is he? Because he cuts the gap down, and, well, Emmanuel, nowhere near in reality. Oops. Should be said that we are only 17 laps into this 71 race. Anything could still happen. David Fidock might not be enough ahead of Eros Masciulli at the moment, but if he catches Bart DeVos and catches Florian Gaia and catches Risto Capit, who's just pitted, he might stand a chance, and I think he's going to overtake in the pits here, Fidock, so he's got to really catch Bart DeVos and Florian Gaia, and he's on for it. They are managing to get their way through to the front here, so it is too early to call the championship, even a quarter of the way through the race. The story of the race has been Fran Lopez, though, in his dominant drive. I know we're only a quarter of the way through, but he has been very, very good this race so far, Fran. And throughout the season, really, the latter half of the season, he's really picked his game up. Could he be worth it watching 2017, do you think, Nico?
Could possibly be. I'm more focused about the fight for the championship at the moment, though, because as it stands now, we've got Eros Masciulli in 8th place, who would score 8 points, and we've got David Fidock in 4th place, scoring 13 points. So that would be the 5 points that he needs. But Fidock could still lose out on the wins.
Yeah, he would
So
lose
he
on
needs to
comeback.
gain one more position, and Bart DeVos isn't that far ahead anymore.
Yeah, but we've got to watch the fact that Eros Masciulli's coming up to Sven de Vries. This could put a deficit out. Fran Lopez in the pits now. Will this be enough to Gaia to get the lead? I don't know. We'll have to watch. But remember, Eros Masciulli not far from Sven de Vries in all this, and has gone through into 7th, so the gap comes down a point. So the further Eros goes up, the more work David Fidock has to do. As Lopez now exiting the pits, Gaia has jumped him for the race lead. Dr. Voss, I doubt, will do so. And it will not be a Kernow in 2nd, but there is a Kernow in 3rd. And again, Kernow Sports have had a good season this season. They're only about, they're only 6th. Only 6th, though, is brilliant for them. Been a great season, including a 3rd place.
And we also just lost Tobias Olsen, I think.
Oh! Well, the attrition rate increases.
Coming up to turn 14, straight into the wall. That was actually the wall where Kimi Räikkönen got lost a couple of years ago.
Yep. And, well, I may have to interrupt you here, or at least focus your attention to the front. Florian Gaia, Fran Lopez, battle for the lead is on. Right close, these two. Fran Lopez looks for an opportunity to 9. Doesn't arise. But he's found an opportunity through Gaia going wide, and he's gone through, and thus scores the chance for Nordstjen to win the team's championship, because they need a car in the winning position. At least if they're going to not match on points. As Gaia round!
Oh!
Into a half spin. Bart DeVos really needs to go through and does. And that's going to put a Kernow in second. Gaia now is under threat from Cabin even. And he's just not going to challenge this because he knows he's not... Well, he does challenge it. Cabin goes wide. He's got a chance to challenge it. I keep saying Nordstjen need to win, but realistically, as long as they outscore, they'll be fine. But a win would help.
Now we've got a fight though from... And that is, yes, that is 2nd to 4th place. And David Fidock in 5th place, not that far behind. And just in front of Bart DeVos is Thomas Hinz. Still remains to be lapped by those 3.
Yep, and Hin's still going around in all this, let's not forget. On course for points if the attrition rate continues. Lopez obviously has now pulled out 8 seconds on Bart DeVos. David Fidock, though, really isn't far behind Florian Gaia and Risto Captain and Bart DeVos. Could be in with a chance of second. I don't expect there'll be much resistance from Florian Gaia and all this, not just because they're teammates, but because, well, Fidock is looking good pace-wise as well. But nonetheless, you know, let's see how they are on pace. Yep, Fidock, obviously, with the mistake not being made for Fidock, is way up on pace. But in terms of sector times, he's got him sorted there as well by 2/10 in Sector 1. Let's see how they are as they come round into Sector 2 here. Or out of Sector 2, he's got another 10. So he is closing on Gaia. And because of that, given he's the faster teammate, I expect he'll probably go through. I mean, Fidock is actually in the pits now. That puts Pete to Bart. And Bart DeVos in too. Maybe that's a tactical decision. Maybe he's reacting to Bart coming in. I mean, the wet tyres, don't know how long they last, but maybe they're at the wit's end. Eros Masciulli will go through, therefore, and inherit E5. But, of course, he has not, well, pitted after Fidock. So we have to wait and see when his next pit stop will be. Eros's.
Oh, and Fidock is right next to Bart DeVos.
Oh, he's gone through on the exit. What a room move there. Not in pit lane, so it's allowed, but he gets him on the exit. And Fidock, that is going to be crucial for him because it gets him that little bit closer to Brewer. Gaxella and Masciulli, though, in the midst of the fight at the moment. Let's go to that if we can. Emmanuel Gaxella and Eros Masciulli. Gaxella, the Romanian, has been amazing this season in that Storm. Let's not forget. He's won a race. Former Formula Challenge champion. Really sewing his stuff in Super League and sticking it to Eros Masciulli here. Saying if you want this 4th place, you're going to have to work for it.
And Fran Lopez has taken off again.
Yeah, well, Lopez, should we call him Lopez the Rocket? Because he is just becoming a rocket in this race. Just taking off again, 12 seconds ahead of Gapet. Has to be favourite for the race win. Gaia still in a solid 3rd over Masciulli at the moment. And remember, Francesconi as well. Michael Francesconi's 11th. And, well, it is a Nordstjen 7-3 at the moment compared to a 4-11 for Adonis. So with Fidock and Gaia being where they are, it's going to be 25 points for them. And it's only going to be 17 for Adonis. So at this rate, it is going to be Nordstjen's team's title. So Michael Francesconi really needs to get a move on if he wants to try and close the points gap. There is a lot to fight for here, obviously. Bart DeVos in again for some reason. David Fidock, though, now in 7th. And chasing the likes of Gaxella. Well, let's not forget, Masciulli's not that far up the road compared to the likes of Brewer and Gaxella. He's not that far behind, and if he's got him on pace, we could see a fight.
I think Bart DeVos just had a stop-and-go penalty.
Oh, well, that might be for speeding in pit lane.
That could have been it. He came out of the pit lane there quite quite optimistically. And yeah, but now we've got to fight 5th place essentially with a trainer. Oh well, from 5th to 7th place. A bit more stretch this time, but overall we've seen in this race so far that gaps can shorten and widen quite a bit in very short amounts of time.
Well, David Fidock, in terms of gaps to everyone else in front of him, he had the fastest first sector of anyone else in front of him, a 20.5 compared to the 20.7s and other laps sector times of other cars. And, well, Fidock is faster than, again, anyone else in Sector 2 and Sector 3. He's making inroads on everyone. He has got the pace here to win this title, David Fidock, but he's got 50 laps to get through before he can. It's been a nice, calm, controlled race from him so far. Track apparently appears to be drying out. I can't see a dry line forming. And it'll be a case of sticking to that if you're on the slicks, which probably no one is. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. See if it does dry out enough for inters or slicks again. Been a very tactical race this so far. Although, there is still this battle between everyone else to worry about. David Fidock has got through Pascal Xala into P6, chasing down Daniel Brewer for P5. And obviously, as I've said, in terms of pace, he is there, or thereabouts. He's pretty much on par, if not quicker than Brewer at the moment. Only a few seconds in it, mind. Fidock was 2 turns down in Sector 1, but he's made up for that in Sector 2. Who are you looking at for the title then at the moment then, Nico?
I think Masciulli has it wrapped up. I think he has it wrapped up now. And for the Constructors' title, I think it's still very tight. Because you have Fidock in a very solid position, and you also have Gaia in a very good position at the moment. And I think at the moment, as long as Francesconi doesn't get any higher, and I think he has quite the gap at the moment to Bart DeVos in front of him. I think that Naughtian Racing will wrap up the Constructor title while we'll see Masciulli with the driver's title run away.
Well, interesting that you say that. It is, in terms of the team's championship, it's 4th and 9th for Francesconi and Masciulli. So that's 20 points for them. Plays the 3rd and 6th by Gaia and Fidock, which is 26. So it is going to be Nordstein's title by 4 points at this moment. Well, actually, by more.
Could change right now.
By 8 points.
Masciulli is right behind Gaia.
Oh, yes, he is. I wonder how that's happened. Has Gaia made a mistake, or has that just been pace? Well, he dropped 2 seconds in Sector 2. That might be why. We've got a fight on for 3rd between Masciulli and Gaia. Rival teams, rival drivers. Expect this to be an interesting one. Eros is into 8th gear on the front straight. When he's not, he's staying in 7th. Then he goes down the inside into 1. Gaia stays there, and oh, he's just squeezed through as Eros past Gaia. And, well, goes through Masciulli into 3rd. That could be a key move. I'm going to recalculate the points now, actually, because they have just made a gain. It's now 16 plus 7, makes 21. Plays 13 plus 10, which is 23. So now
they're even.
Now they're even, and Nordstein are going to lose it because of the countback on wins.
Yeah. Oh.
That could have been a decisive move in the teams right there, and maybe even the drivers, because David Fidock now has to win. Pretty much. Now he's going to find 36 seconds of Fran Lopez. Pretty much how it is at the moment, and he will be hoping that he can do a good job here. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see if he does, but 36 seconds over about 50 laps. Can it be done? That is the question. He's closing in on Brewer and Gaia at the moment, although the rain might stop and the track might form a dry line. I think it can happen, although it is Eros's to lose at the moment.
And Gaia's going to pits.
Gaia is in the pits! Maybe deciding it's time to get off those wets. And
It's just darkened up again, though, a bit. Not quite sure if it's the right time yet to go to, well, intermediates or softs.
yep. And he's staying on the wets. He's deciding to come in for a new set of wets. Probably no fuel change. Decides that enough is enough on that front. And David Fidock is now chasing down Brewer for 4th.
And in front of Brewer is already his direct rival for the championship.
Yeah, and he's not that far ahead as Eros, is he?
And oh no, that wasn't Resto Capitis sorry.
Yep, you're looking at a wilderness car there.
Yeah, that was Baldy there.
Yeah, Giggle Baldy taking a bit of a spin. David Fidock versus Daniel Brewer, a very serious battle for 4th on. Could be key to the championship. Let's watch that because it's interestingly good and of course battle. Although I will pop to our camera person Argo Teder here if you would like to come on the broadcast. How has the race been from your standpoint? Because we don't usually talk to the camera people, but how have these first 25 laps been for you, Argo? I don't think he wants to speak, unfortunately. Oh, well, hello. Well, find a few words. I'm sure that will be saying words. Here, Fidock goes through on Brewer, who comes into the pits. So he's now up in the 4th. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it just got extra saucy if you wanted any more Tabasco sauce with your food today. Because Eros Masciulli and David Fidock are 1 position ahead of each other. Masciulli 3rd, Fidock 4th, and Fidock's got the pace. We could be on for a battle. You didn't have your Tabasco sauce, you've got it now, because this is the battle we all wanted to see, isn't it? He's chasing, and in terms of the first sector, he has it not really in his hands. He's only a 10th down, though. Eros Masciulli, he'll be hoping, will make a mistake, and he'll be hoping to have him on pace as well. Then he's got to catch Cabot. Then he's got to catch Lopez. And mind you, David Fidock at the moment is about on par with Lopez's pace. But, he has to win. And that's the key thing. That is the key thing.
There's a green arrow car in the...
That is the green stripes. That will be Horrell.
Oh, green stripes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's
Green
Horrell.
yep. And Fidock has not gained on Masciulli in that second sector. He's dropped 6/10. Maybe Eros is starting to find his form, find his rhythm, find his range. He needs it, that's for certain. He's coming up to some lap traffic, but David Fidock in the final sector has improved massively. He's taken 6/10 out of Eros. If you thought it wasn't going to be close, then maybe it's just not close in certain places. He is absolutely hammering the throttle here, David Fidock. He wants this position. He needs this position for championship contention. Needs to win by 5 points in the championship, and 3rd versus 4th would only be 3. You'd have to hope Masciulli drops off, that he gains position, or both. This could be an interesting little couple of laps here, definitely. And David will be hoping that he gets the necessary position for sure. And it's been the story of this season, Masciulli versus Fidock, with Pushka in there as well while he was racing. And some people will argue for the Pushka that he could have won championship as well. Could have been a back-to-back champion if he'd had the chance to race the whole season. But unfortunately he hasn't. That's why it's come down to Masciulli and Fidock. But hopefully we'll see Philip back in 2017 challenging for championship glory once again. From what you've seen of this season, Nico, you will have probably seen how good Philip was, and you'll probably agree with us that he probably could have been up there with the likes of Fidock and Masciulli, challenging for the championship in these final races.
Definitely. From his run from the Canadian Grand Prix till the Belgian Grand Prix, which was 6 races, 4 wins, 1 second place, and 1 7th place. I think he could have quite a big impact on the rest of the season. Even with not having raced since then, he's still in 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. And, well, obviously he's going to get his position taken away from 4th place from Francesconi now. But I think it's still a very impressive record there. Before the races, he had the Australian Grand Prix and Bahrain Grand Prix, 11th and 3rd, and Spain and Turkey as well, 3rd and 2nd. Overall, just very impressive results in this field, and I think he could have definitely been a contender for a championship fight.
Well, if we go to P5, Gaia Brewer is burning on again. Daniel Brewer trying to catch the Florian Gaia as Fran Lopez pits. Bristol Cabot might take the lead of the race here. But Daniel Brewer is having a solid race for Kernow in 6th as well, trying to chase down Florian Gaia. There's an outside force in all this. He doesn't care about the fact that they've got a championship to win. He wants 5th place. And that's what makes it so interesting. Guys like Brewer win battles with guys like Gaia.
And Fran Lopez went on intermediates just now.
Oh, maybe he thinks the time's right for Inters. So Cabot goes into the lead of the race. See if it is time for Inters. He will be the benchmark for this. He will be the flag post, so to speak. And Masciulli Fidock is still raging on. 6.5 seconds between the two. And on the last lap, it was David who was a second slower. He'll be frustrated at the fact he can't catch Eros here. But I think they're on slightly different strategies. Same tyres, but different strategies. We'll have to see how it goes between these two, obviously. Championship rivals, championship challengers, 7 seconds now, the gap between them. Although so much of the race left to go. Gaia Brewer actually seems to be petering off. I don't think that Kernow has the straight line speed compared to the Nordstjen, which was making heaps of time on Eros Masciulli and the Adonis cars. But Brewer is not going to let up. He's going to keep fighting until he can fight no more. Only 11 cars on the lead lap in this race. Sven de Vries, the last of them, in 11th. But in terms of battles, it does seem a very, very tactical battle this race, although not much on-track action. Michael Francesconi pits from 10th as well. Mind you, props to Rudy Van Buren, who's made his way back up to 9th. That is impressive, especially on the Inters. He is on the intermediate tyres and he is giving it the full beans here. And, well, must be said that he's doing a good job of it. I mean, Van Buren to be 9th and chasing De Vos on a different tyre compound. Either the Inters or the tyres to be on, who's making very good use of them. I mean, it has been, to say, a tactical race, this race, but even if there's not much on-track action, that doesn't mean you can't have good racing. Although Capit Fidock's on for P3. Risto defending from David, and this could be instrumental in the championship as well. Eros is in 2nd, and let's not forget that that means that he's got the championship in the bag at the moment. It's first or second.
Nowhere to be reached.
First or second, that is pretty much going to bag him the title. Although David Fidock knows, therefore, that he needs to catch Capit, and he's not doing it. Although Eros Masciulli's not that far ahead of Fidock in the long game, so if Eros pits, it will hand the effective lead back to David. Again, it's that word, strategy. Strategy is the watchword. And more so in this race than any other, could be argued. I mean, on lap 30, going on lap 31, Eros Masciulli might be leading David Fidock by a good 7 seconds, 8 seconds. But what does that mean if he pits? Nothing. Fidock will get the lead back.
I think this is really the beauty of rain races, obviously. Normally we would have had this strategy of soft and medium tyres. Now we've got, well, all sorts of strategies playing out.
Cabot's gone past Francesconi. I thought it was Masciulli, sorry.
Ah.
I thought we were going to have a battle on, but it's the other car.
Making me all excited there.
I know, I suck, don't I? Apparently Van Buren's just spun on the Inters. So that is not good for Rudy, and not good for Fran if he can't keep that back end of that red archer in control, though he's doing a very good job of that so far.
Right behind McNaughton at the moment. You're going to lap him there.
Yep, he is. Round he goes. Nice, easy job done by Fran. Not much to worry about in his case. He's just leading the race. Might go out with a race when Fran Lopez. Of course, won that phenomenal race that he had at America. Ultimately lost that, but took the official, or the unofficial win. He's had 2 podiums. Can he round out with a win? You'd think he would. You think he could. You think he might even.
He definitely has the pace today.
He's had the pace for quite a while. It's just it hasn't gone his way luck-wise.
And Horror again off turn 13.
Yeah,
Hallelujah. And with a bit of a bump there as well.
It is tricky conditions with these V6 turbo engines. Lots of torque. Easy to drop it if you're not careful. David Fidock dropping time to Eros Masciulli. He's about 10 seconds behind now. And that is still enough for a pit stop to put him ahead. But it's starting to become worse and worse for him. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if he does lose, it'll be down to a great drive by Masciulli. Ultimately, because these two have not come really into any sort of proximity to each other on track. But it's strategy that's going to win it. And apparently the rain has stopped according to Chris Williamson. Nicolas Hillebrand is going to go away for a moment, but he'll be back soon. But apparently the rain has stopped, and that means the track is going to dry out. So there is a dry line forming, and, well, drivers may choose to go onto slicks if they can stay on it when it expands. It hasn't expanded yet. It probably won't expand for a while. The expanding battle is Masciulli Capit. Eros is not losing. He's losing time to Risto. Risto Capit has a chance here. Down the inside of turn 1, perhaps, if he's got the speed. He has got the speed and then some. Down the inside into turn 1. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he does. Makes the move. Starts to move in. Gets a bit squiggly, but he's got it done. Risto Capit, a crucial move. As if on Eros Masciulli dumps him down, but David Fidock has got to get through on Eros to get any sort of leverage in the championship. But that will be a godsend for David, as if he's going to be held up, Eros, by Risto, if he can't get through, that'll help him out. Although we have a battle ensuing between Gaia and Brewer. I think Daniel Brewer's gone through on Florian Gaia at the moment for P5. Keep an eye on that. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on this whole Capit Masciulli battle as well, because Eros has got to try and get back again, but we'll watch him battle for that position. Remember, he is 5 points ahead of David Fidock and ahead in wins. So he only needs to win 5 points less than Fidock and he will still be champion. Anything more than that and he loses the lead of the championship. A win or a second pretty much seals it for him. And he's only 3rd at the moment, so it could happen. Although he is dropping time hand over fist to Capit now, it's looking more and more likely he will be 3rd, at least for now. In terms of live timing, I can tell you that David Fidock is, well, he's not really gaining, actually, Fidock, in all honesty. And Rudy Van Buren. I got the "and" there, but he's on slicks. Yes, Van Buren on slicks, making a move. Trying to make a decisive move, trying to set a trend, maybe thinking that it's time for slicks. Well, he'll certainly... Oh, and Fidock on Indas! David Fidock on Indas! This is important. He has switched tyres. He's jumped Masciulli. He's gone ahead. Maybe he thinks now is the time. Maybe he thinks he can jump Eros by switching tyres. This is crucial. Gaia in, also onto the Indas. Strategy call from all of Nordstrom, then it will be. Double stack them, and what a way to do it. Lopez is already on the Intas. Maybe they're taking inspiration from him. Capit is on the wets. Masciulli on the wets. He might have to come in. Maybe they'll use Francesconi as a test mule. He's on the Intas. Maybe they'll use him as a scene if it's time for Eros to come in. They'll want him on the fastest strategy, of course. We'll see if he does as he comes on turn 12. Comes on Young Cow. He's keeping on the left. But is he going to come in? No, he's not. Not yet, at least. Or is he? Yes, he does cross over. Crosses over and comes in. Eros Masciulli saying the time is now for these intermediate tyres as we welcome Nicolas Hillebrand back. We've just had a spate of people coming in for Inters. And well, with the rain stopping and the dry line forming, it probably is the best time, isn't it? Watch David Fidock though, because he's not going to be nearly close enough to get to Masciulli. It has not worked out for him, the attempt to leapfrog. Eros is going to come out in P4. David Fidock not really making the gains as he comes in too. Interestingly, he's going to drop even more time. Maybe he's coming up to slicks, but Masciulli's on Inters, trying to leapfrog him again. This could be a serious time gain if it works out though. Think how much more grip the slicks give on a dry surface than the Inters. Stick to that dry line, it might be time. Well, DeVos has made the switch straight on the slicks from wets. David Fidock has not actually changed over. Apparently, he might have lost a wing. And he has! He's lost his front wing, that's why he's in! Disaster for Fidock. Why did that happen? Maybe you can go back and look for Nico, because I've got no clue. But Fidock has lost a wing and stayed on Inters. And apparently the rain is starting again. So it might have been a good decision from David Fidock. Maybe this has worked out after all, but that wing loss has not helped. Oh, apparently Nicolas Hillebrand's headset is just broken. And it's not good news. So we are without a Hillebrand for the moment. I'm going to see if I can recruit someone else. In the meantime, we need to keep watching this situation with Fidock, because that could be decisive. Him losing a wing. It's going to be crucial, this maybe. But we'll have to keep watching as Bristol Cabot is coming up to... Is this Fidock he's coming up to, actually? It is! Bristol Cabot's coming out to lap him. Interestingly. So, this is not going to help David by any means. Any means whatsoever. He is trying. He is not succeeding. Apparently Van Buren's fastest on slicks. Maybe the time is right then. David Fidock wouldn't have much to lose, but he's already quite far behind compared to Eros, who is currently in P4. This is not looking good for David Fidock. Well, I tell you this, interesting scenarios here in Super League. I'm getting things wrong when it comes to who I need to commentate. Well, as I'm hoping Nicolas can get his headset fixed, but
Am
nonetheless...
I think I'm back.
Oh, he is back, he's back! Good.
Bloody hell.
Right, he is back. We have a Hillebrand, thank goodness for that. Apparently it's raining again.
Well, the race is not only chaotic for the drivers, but also for the commentary booth.
Yeah, make your mind up whether you're being too British here in Brazil. Honestly, is it just me, or is it just me doing that? I don't know. But Eros Masciulli and David Fidock, there's practically an ocean between them now. Off a lap, and yeah, Eros, that was a serious advantage.
Raining so heavily that it disabled my headset.
I think we might be getting a third commentator.
Oh boy.
If he accepts, that is. Apparently the conditions are not very good, says Ben Horrell. He was out of the race, of course, but conditions are not very good. Have it from a driver himself. Apparently, we're seeing if we can get another commentator in. Not, but we might have a third voice. So, we will see. We will see. As, well, David Fidock's just going to have to see how he goes on these inters, because it has not gone his way all of a sudden. Somehow he lost a wing. Do you know how he did it?
I have not seen it, sadly.
Well, I wish we did, but either which way, must be said, interestingly, a couple of people are saying it's all over already, but you never know. There's still half a race to go.
And Balde has also parked his car.
Yep, Baldy is out. Everyone who finishes now is guaranteed points if they meet the 90%. So, the likes of Norton, if he can get the 90% of race distance, which I believe is 66 laps, will get a point. As will Hins, as will Shorten, as will De Vries, as will Meinek. We only have 15 runners and racers. Lopez, I think, has just overtaken her. Yep, Lopez has just lapped Gaia in all this, somehow. Or he's overtaken some Nordstrom. Chris Williamson says Fidock lost his front wing in a collision with Horrell. That might be what caused it. That won't be very good since Ben Horrell was a back marker, or near the back as well, at the time, but... Yeah, we're not going to get another person, unfortunately. Or at least not the person I was asking. But yeah, that could have been crucial for David Fidock losing his front wing there. I mean, we thought at the pace to catch up, but unless something happens to Eros Masciulli now, it is looking more and more likely that Fidock will not win this championship anymore. Although, there is still a lot of the race left.
33 laps.
33 laps. We could still see an incident. We could still see an incident. Do not lose hope, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see a championship battle. Because it's not all over yet. And, well, it's certainly looking a bit over in terms of who's winning the race, because Fran Lopez is an ocean ahead of Catlett. He's 35 seconds at the moment. And he is absolutely flying. In fact, it's looking so good a race, I might leave you for my obligatory break. So I'll take it away, Nico.
My sound still hasn't returned for R Factor 2, but yeah. As I'm now partly back, fully, or completely back sound-wise, yeah, and Lopez now enters lap number 41, I think. Yes, it should be 41 now. As I get okay. Right, Fran Lopez now on lap 41, coming around turn 3. Mr. Capet now still in position 2, coming around turn 13, and yeah, the gap is growing and growing. Masciulli, our championship favourite at the moment, sadly, I think now we have, even though we have quite a bunch of laps left, there's a huge gap, and I think only an accident or any trouble with the lap traffic could shorten that gap to Mr. Oh, sorry. Bit caught up here still with trying to fix my system. Fidock, yes, yeah, there it is. Fidock in 8th place. And let me quickly see, where is his teammate? Florian Gaia in the 4th place, and he isn't that far behind Masciulli. It's still the entire stretch of turn 14, 15, the front straight, and turn 1. But now the track is, I think, finally drying up, even though it is still raining a little bit, but the dry line has already formed. Well, not really much to say anything. Let's look a bit for plots here. But the boss is in the pit in P12. Oh, and we've got Maciej Melinek against Michael Francesconi. Or Francesconi, however you use his name, I'm sorry. And Rudy Van Buren in 6th place against Daniel Brewer in 5th. Almost side by side coming down into turn 4, now turn 5, right behind each other. As Florian Gaia goes off a little bit, and goes off again a little bit. And at this rate he will soon be joining Van Buren and Brewer in that fight for 4th and then, well, in the 5th and 5th and then 4th position, if he keeps going off. But for now in front of them is in fact the leader, Fran Lopez, and now Van Buren's going for the inside, and I think he's passed! Fantastic pass through turn 12, like at the exit of turn 11. Will Daniel Bruin now be able to hold on to him? Van Buren already on the soft tires as well. This is quite interesting. And Brewer on the rate tires. Not too far behind that on the intermediate is Gazella. This is quite interesting to see right now. As it stands right now, Masciulli is now untouchable for the championship. And as we try to see through the field, and in the time we have been gone, we gladly didn't lose any more people. Last person still running is Adrian McNaughton, 15th place. And yeah, he's not in any contention to Thomas Hinson 14th at the moment, who just lost control a tiny bit. And as I hear it, my partner Joshua Anderson is back, and Thomas Hinson keeps on drifting.
Well, yeah,
Bart
Fidock in the
was
grand
also
scheme of-
off, and without
What?
a front wing.
Who is?
Bart de Vos.
Oh, DeVos, yes. From 13th. So that's not good for
Lost
Bart.
Lost it on the outside curb out of turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, the Fidock-Masciulli battle, let's be honest, there's about half a lap between them still. So unless something happens to Eros, it's looking like his title. But, I mean, everyone else, only 4 cars. Let's just put it this way. 4 cars on the lead lap. That is how dominant Fran Lopez has been this race. A whole minute ahead of Masciulli. It's just been his race.
And now Van Buren, though, challenging Lopez, even though he's a lap down. He has been catching Lopez for quite some time now, and right behind him now.
Rudy will know he's a lap down. He'll know he'll have to get through safely. Doesn't want to compromise Lopez's win here. He's gunning for him, isn't he? He really is gunning for him. And he's got a pit soon because he's still on slicks. I mean, he's obviously sticking to the dry line like glue, or what's left of it. There is even a dry line there because he's still that quick on slicks, and now he half spins. So maybe it is time for a change. But yeah, the rain has really brought out the best in Lopez, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Been the star of the race in my eyes, definitely. And well, with 43 laps gone, and we're on lap 44, it's looking more and more likely that it will be Masciulli the champion. Of course, if he does win, it will continue a trend that was set in 2014. David Fidock winning in his first season in Super League, followed by Peter Pushka winning in his first season in Super League, and now it'll be Eros Masciulli winning not just in his first season in Super League, but in his debut year in GPVWC. It seems these days that you've got to be new to the league to win stuff.
Oh, and now we have Rudy Van Buren against Florian Gaia for 4th place, and he goes past.
Yep, Van Buren through on Gaia. That's going to put even more pain in the Nordstrom garage. And it's not going to help their cause any. Although, with Masciulli 2nd and Matt Francesconi 9th, means they're going to pick up 27 points. Compare that to the points that Nordstrom are going to get in 5th and 6th is 21. So 21 plays 27 means that it is probably going to be an Adonis win. And only by 4 points. So it's going to be close, and it could still go either way. Although Eros Masciulli, I think, really starting to pull away from Capit now with the grand... Well, I say that. He got 3 seconds on him in that last lap. Restore Capit on Eros Masciulli. We could still see him go down a position, and Adonis, as a subsequent choice of that, maybe hold it on wins alone. And, yeah. It's still set to be a very interesting end of the race because we're only about 62% of the way through. Do not let the fact that David Fidock is so far behind put you off. He is still up there. He is still trying. While 6th place won't get him the title, he can hope that he can make gains somehow. Oh, and he gets a bit wide out of that turn though. Unfortunately, that's not going to help his cause.
Rudy Van Buren just lost control for a moment in the
yeah.
Senna S.
He must be dancing on ice in those slicks. I mean, Gaia is 1.5 seconds behind on the Inters and probably going to claw time in every time he makes a mistake.
Indeed.
the problem.
At the moment, though, a Vod Bull with both cars. Well,
Yep.
on 3 and
Third
4.
and fourth.
We're not
Third
in
and fourth,
any
and
trouble.
look at this. Cappett's challenging Masciulli. 4 seconds. It could be a 2-4. As he goes down the inside, he's got so much more speed. This should be easy win for Capett. Yep, through he goes. Masciulli helpless to stop it. And I think now they're only going to win it on the fact that they've got one more win this season, or Adonis. So if Eros drops another position, somehow, then it could be disastrous.
Fidock up in 6th place again as well. Then now we have the Adonis cars. Oh wait, no, sorry, not the Adonis cars. The Nordson Racing cars in 5th and 6th.
Yep, 5th and 6th for Nordstrom. I think it is looking good for them if they can make any inroads whatsoever. I mean, Eros Masciulli and Rudy Van Buren. Rudy Van Buren's not too well. Gaia's now pitted, so Fidock will probably go through. Daniel Brewer retires. Brewer is out from 10th, so that will end the Kernow drivers' race. Although Botavos is in 13th, that's not going to be such a good point off for Kernow anymore.
So every person that still finishes the race is now in points position.
Yeah, Fidock does pass Gaia. Fidock gets through. Manuel Gagzala might even get through here. Probably will do. Fidock now has just got to make up the time to Eros Masciulli somehow. He's got, I'd say, 26 laps. And on that last lap, he was quicker than Eros by a good couple of seconds. It's not over yet, you know. Van Buren has now been lapped by Lopez, I believe, or is up to be lapped. No, he's not being lapped, sorry. He's still a couple of corners away from being lapped. But Lopez is closing in, that is for certain. David Fidock will be chasing down Eros Masciulli like there is no tomorrow. He gained 4 tenths in Sector 1. I think he's about a while off, but that's not to say that he can't do it, because Eros might still be slow. Slow enough, at least, for Fidock to catch up. I mean, it's like we're having to see David Sitness first, because Eros is a second ahead, yes, but in terms of lap time, he was quicker last lap, because Eros made a mistake. The line is getting drier, apparently. And, well, Van Buren, most certainly on those slicks, keeping on the dry line, is absolutely flying, that is for certain. At least he's doing a good job on the slicks. He's keeping it on the dry line, and he's taking advantage of that. If you can keep it on the dry line, the slicks are absolutely the best, but I don't know how he's doing it. I wouldn't be able to. Risto and Eros, now a good 4 seconds between them in all this. David Fidock is not really catching Van Buren, or close enough to mount an overtake. But I think Eros Masciulli, for him, he just needs to keep the race in his hands. He's not under really any pressure at the moment, because he's in a very good position. For certain, as well, there goes Thomas Hinds, getting nicely out of the way. Not really causing any problems in that lapping manoeuvre, just getting out of the way, leading the blue flags, and, well, it's going to be Eros's race to lose, as I said before. Mind you, David Fidock had a collision with someone. Eros Masciulli might full well have a collision with someone also. You never know. Someone might try to run up themselves. And it might not go well. There's a lot of people a lap down now, of course, as I said. Van Buren, a minute and 10 behind Lopez. But coming up to that threshold, although he's a couple of corners ahead. It has been a show of dominance, as I've said, from Lopez, though, this entire race. He just got out there and he's led. Has he got the fastest lap of the race? I don't know. I'll have to check. Lopez's best lap is a 1:16.346, which I don't think has been matched by anyone else. So, I don't think he's led every lap of the race, though, unfortunately. So that prevents him from getting the Grand Slam, but there will certainly be a hat-trick there. Or at least a hat-trick minus the pole. Because did he get pole position? Oh, that was Florian Gaia. So he won't get the hat-trick, but he'll have a very good race. I'm wondering if he can lap everyone. You think he can do it, Nico?
I I don't think he has the pace to lap every single one so far. But as it stands now, I think he might be able to. He might be able to catch up to David Fidock as well.
Well, he can certainly try. Certainly give it a go.
But
I mean-
as well, it depends on. It depends on how the rest of the race plays out because, to be fair to Fidock, he's still fighting on and he's not that far behind Masciulli. And he did have that collision with, I think it was Daniel Brewer earlier. Was it? No, it wasn't. It was Ben Horrell, sorry.
Yeah, Horrell had that incident with Fidock, and I think that may have helped, unfortunately. But Florian Gaia is in the pits now. He pits for Nordstrom. David Fidock, he pretty much needs a miracle at this point, doesn't he? Or to catch up extremely well. Because there is a big, big gap between him and Eros Masciulli. So he needs something quite big.
We've got Thomas Hinz and Gaia in the pits.
If Hinz has gone on to slicks. Not really surprised at this point, even though the track's still a bit wet in places. Bart DeVos comes in. Watch it to see this is a change onto slicks for certain. But Lopez still doing well on those inters. So really, it's down to strategy and personal preference. And I like it when it comes down to strategy and personal preference. You never know what's going to happen. DeVos does, in fact, go on to slicks, by the way. So maybe it's slicks time. Maybe it's slicks time, and if Fidock can get enough of either leapfrog Masciulli and Masciulli makes the mess of the switch, it could help.
DeVos again having issues exiting the pits there.
Apparently, what if Rudy Van Buren catches Eros Masciulli? Now, then we'll have a fight on for third. David Fidock needs to beat him either way, but if Rudy Van Buren catches Eros Masciulli, we're going to have a good fight on, that is for certain. I wouldn't put it past him either. I really would not put it past him. I mean, at the moment, in terms of raw pace, Van Buren has got it on Masciulli. He's 2 seconds quicker in that last lap, and he's nailing time down through sector 2. He's really got it going on through sector 2 as Van Buren.
Fran Lopez gonna put another lap on Florian Gaia soon.
Yeah, I mean, I would put a serious fight between Van Buren and Masciulli on the cards, but Lopez is just going to lap Gaia again. Obviously, doesn't want to make this too difficult, Florian. Obviously, he's got position to look after. Doesn't want to make it too difficult for the race lead to get through. Although with a 45-second gap, it's hardly worth worrying about.
Malinek in the pits as well, and he's changed to soft tyres.
Yeah, I think people are starting to realise there's enough of a dry line to get onto the slick compounds now. You got to stay on it, of course. Otherwise, you get into understeer city. But it is a case of stay on that dry line and you'll be okay with the softs. Van Buren is proving that by taking chunk after chunk out of time out of Eros Masciulli. Mr. Kappa is trying to get past a Hawkeye on the front straight and has succeeded almost. Blue flags will be waving in all sorts of directions, but they're doing it in turn 1, and that is fine. Eros and Rudy, we'll see where the gap is come to start finish, but I think Rudy is really starting to pick the pace up, even though he's a bit squeaky.
Oh, and he's going off!
Who is?
Oh,
Cabin is off, yes, Cabin's off! Cabin has gone
Barely
into the
saved
wall,
it.
and Eros
Barely
Masciulli
saved
has
it.
gone through in a second. What happened there? What on earth happened there? If you wouldn't mind checking for me, Nico, that would be great. But what a time to have a half spin or a full spin or any sort of disengagement from the track.
I think he just got on the throttle too early there.
Yeah, and that's
Masciulli is now in second.
yep. So regardless of what happens now, he's got it. If Fidock does not get through, he has pretty much got it from here. He will have a 25-point lead and he'll win on countback. At the moment, it is Eros's to win or lose. He's in the prime position to take the title regardless. He'll have been hoping and dreaming for that. But if Risto Kappa can somehow catch up, then David Fidock stands a chance. And David Fidock is in the pits and still not off the Inters. That may be a decisive move again. Well. Maybe Fidock not changing is the right thing. Maybe it's not the right thing. Maybe he thinks it's the right thing. I don't know anymore. But really, we're going to think what could have been if he hadn't had that collision. Maybe he would be fighting his way up again. Maybe Eros would still be quicker. Who knows? But still, with about 18 laps to go, there is still room here for a major development. We have seen bigger things happen before. Don't think for a minute just because the current circumstances that it can't change, because it can. Lopez, though, very much dominant in the lead at the moment. Dives into the wet there, probably to try and cool his intermediate times down. Maybe it's time for Lopez to switch. He had to dive into the wet there to cool them down. Dives into the wetter portion of the track, and obviously, you know, water on the tyres will get the heat off them. But if you're doing that a lot, it's a sign maybe you need to switch to the softs. Obviously, Nico, as someone with experience in open wheel cars, you'd know that.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely a difficult situation to be in right now, especially as well from my latest wheel experience, especially with the tires. If one dry line would be last season's 24 Hours of Le Mans for the VEC, and especially in the night time. A simple line where you of course gain a lot of time on the entire lap around the Circuit de la Sarthe with soft tires compared to intermediates or wets, and you have to stay on that single line through corners like the Porsche curves and stuff. It's quite hard, especially on a track like this as well, with so many low and high speed corners. It's especially hard to hit these lines at all times as well. And you can see, for example, in Rudy Van Buren's case, who manages this quite well and is obviously gaining a bit of time there as well.
Yep, gains are being made on the Van Buren front, that is for certain. You know, he's really not far off anyone. He's within striking distance if they make a mistake or if anything happens. If Eros Masciulli spins around, Van Buren is only 10 seconds away. And that is a worrying thought, how quick he is. He'll be the first to take advantage.
No, but then again, those two are teammates and they are still working toward the same goal. And, Vodbull is, to be honest, they're comfortable in their third place in Constructors' Championship, and they can't either gain anything nor lose anything, so I think they have quite a comfortable position at the moment.
Yep. I mean, it's been a great race from Van Buren to come from the back to fourth. Let's not forget that as well, and I'm sure we'll be... If he can get into that podium, maybe even if he doesn't get into the podium, we'll be having to talk to him after the race, because he has done a stunning job, although not quite nearly as stunning as Fran Lopez, to be fair. I mean, he's just ran away with it. Lopez the Rocket, we'll have to call him. We will definitely have to start making nicknames for drivers more often, if this is the case, but a good solid race from Nordstrom. Don't know whether it's going to be enough. I mean, 9th for Francesconi and 2nd for Masciulli. Puts them on that magical 27 points. Compare that to the 21.
Also catching up to Risto Caput, also catching up to Masciulli again.
Yep, Caput's making dem gains, and he might just have a battle on for second again, if we're lucky. Well, in the comments, James Kirk says, let's all agree on one thing. Racing is great. I can't disagree. I cannot disagree. Apparently DeVos has crashed.
Oh boy, let's have a look.
And he has lost a front wing in the process, yes.
Oh, and it was in turn 1.
Yeah, in turn 1. Tricky corner. But yes, as isn't Simracing brilliant? It's so brilliant, in fact, that Risto Caput is now just 3 seconds behind Eros Masciulli.
Yeah, he got DeVos got a fishtail breaking in. Rear went around, was facing inside wall, tried to correct it, and well, just the car just snapped on him and he went into the outside wall. Drying up track, it was particularly the prime example of braking on a wet track with soft tires. The difficulty in this is shown quite well there.
Yeah, it is not the easiest track in the world to drive, Sao Paulo. I mean, it's got its quirks, it's got its difficulties, lots of fast corners, easy to drop it with all the torque you've got, it's raining. It like sounds like a saga, to be honest, but it's been an interesting race. That is, well, that is quite clear. I mean, it's getting 3.5, the gap has gone up from Masciulli to Capit now, but there is still laps to go. I mean, we're gonna have a situation where interesting things still happen. Let's not delude ourselves. This is not over. And it won't be over till the final lap is finished. I mean, Mleinek, yeah, shout out to Mleinek in 8th. Great run for him in the Wouters. Great run for Sven de Vries in 10th in the Hawkeye as well. They're having an inspired week here. Or as Sven de Vries says, at least, he's having a great job. In that number 3 Hawkeye. Michael Francesconi head has actually just had a half spin, so he's probably going to close it. Oh, Thomas Hinz just avoids.
Oh, Francesconi spun. Okay.
Yeah, I just called that.
Aye.
Yeah, Sven de Vries has a chance to close in, but he's still quite a way behind. Capit Van Buren are closing in. Capit and Van Buren are getting closer. This could be a battle between Capit and Masciulli, if we get the chance to see it. I mean, up and down the championship we've got battles going on, but we love to see little battles like this. It is absolutely brilliant to see that we've still got battles going on. Because that gives me something to commentate on, that's for certain. But it's been a nice, relaxed race for me. I haven't had to get too excited, and I like that sometimes. I like not having to get excited all the time. I mean, we've had races where I haven't caught a breather, but nonetheless, speaking of breathers, I think we're going to take one for about 5 minutes. So, take it away, Nico.
Well, I think now is a good time to have a look at the Constructor Championship again. And, yeah, as Masciulli is now in 2nd place and his teammate Francesconi is in 9th, they would get 27 points overall together. And at the moment, as it stands, with 5th and 6th place, Fidock and Gaia would only get 21 points. Which would be enough for Adonis Engineering to pass Nordzian Racing by 4 points, exactly. And as it stands now, it seems as Adonis could indeed take away, well, they could leave today with the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship, which would be quite something for the team. We still got Pete struggling with the conditions here. Brando is a bit sideways, or that might have just been netcode from my side. But yeah, everyone's still pushing. Rudy Van Buren now right behind Resto Capit, his teammate, through turn 3. And it's also not a fight of, not just a fight of teammates, but it's also a fight of tire compounds. The intermediate tires versus the soft tires. And not too far ahead is also Masciulli. And ladies and gentlemen, if those two Voltbulls were to catch up to Masciulli, it would completely mix up the entire Constructor Championship again. So we can see here, even though it's now lap 59 and Lopez just got out of the pits again for his next, for his, I think, last pit stop. Well, the soft compound. Lap 60 now. And even though it's only 11 laps to go, it is still not over. At least the Constructor Championship is still on. And I think this is basically the showcase of a race being literally decided on the last couple of meters still. As long as Van Buren and Resto Capit pits. Now probably for the soft tires as well. It has completely stopped raining and it's now only drying up. The dry line has completely widened, so they the pilots now have a bit more of a safe space on the racing line. And I think the last lap Van Buren, and yes, Van Buren gained quite a bit again on Masciulli. Capet still in 4th, and Fidock definitely not in any range to gain any more positions at the moment. And Gaia even lost a position to Gazzella, so now definitely, as it stands right now, Adonis would take away Constructors' Championship as well.
Would be an interesting one if it did, of course. I am back, by the way. And, well, Masciulli in the pits now. And it's going to be interesting
So
to see...
is Van Buren as well.
So it's Van Buren. Van Buren responds.
And Capet is now through the pits though, and he's now coming down the front straight, coming through turn 14 and 15 now.
Yeah. And
Will
Bristol Capet-
Masciulli be out of in time though? Oh, a bit sideways out of the pits. And Buren right behind him. And there's Capet through the first corner, through the Senna S.
Has this
It's gonna be
benefited
very
Rudy Van
tight.
Buren then? Probably
Gonna
has.
be- Yeah,
he's going to
probably
benefit from
gonna.
this.
He might take his no, he's going to be right behind his teammate. But will they be able to take Masciulli now in the last closing laps?
We'll have to see. We will have to see. And it's all starting to kick off with about 10 laps to go now. David Fidock's chances increasing by the minute. He needs something to happen, and he needs it to happen soon, because Eros Masciulli 2/3 of the way through, almost. Pretty much half a lap ahead of him. It's so spicy in this race, potentially, that I need to open a can of Coke to cool down. It's not a can of Coke, actually, kind of zero sugar Vimto, that's all we have, but either way, Eros Masciulli, we get a bit of a sugar rush at the moment on lap 61 of 71, 10 to go in this race.
Van Buren and Capet now right behind Masciulli.
Oh yes,
And
this
those
could get
two
interesting.
Could those two Vodbull cars right in the last minute take away the Constructor Championship?
Well,
I don't quite know at the moment. Is dropped down to 8th place now.
Van Buren's not going for it just yet. He's not going for it just yet. And oh, Eros Masciulli forced onto the wetness a bit there. He's going to try and hold the dry line like it's his life depending on it. But Rudy Van Buren looking to make a move here as we come down into turn 4. I don't think he's got the leverage, actually. No, he doesn't. Now remember, should have DRS on the dry tyres. But here comes Van Buren now. Oh! Tries it into 5, doesn't work. Could get it through 6, maybe into 7 and 8 and 9. Here he comes
it's
now,
a bit
does
dark
Rudy. He
again.
won't jump. Not jumping,
And-
that is for certain. Not jumping at
and
the
the World-
opportunity just yet.
The World GT Champion is right behind that. He's
Yeah,
not here to
Capet,
play
look
any
how
games.
close Capet is. He's got double trouble in the form of 2 Vodballs. Is the pressure going to get to him? It might, just, but it won't be probably enough unless he has a major crash for David Fidock to capitalise. I mean, it might be a case here of Nordstrom win the fight, but well, they'll lose the war, but lose the battle, but win the war if they win the Constructors' Championship. But both of them have been a little bit of a long season thing, these titles, and Eros Masciulli, while set to take the drivers, you know, we shouldn't rule out how good David Fidock's been this season. Van Buren, though, is just looking for opportunities to get past Eros Masciulli, but he's not giving them the time of day. If he wants to make an opportunity happen, he's going to have to look very hard here, Rudy.
Going to be very interesting now in the last couple of laps. The 2 Vodbull cars would get through.
Oh, apparently DRS is locked off for everyone. Tyres make no difference.
Yeah, because the track is still wet, most
Yeah.
of the part. If the Vodbull cars both would get through, then Adonis would miss out on the Constructor Championship 1 point.
Well, I guess Nordstrom will be wanting the Vodballs to do well here then.
Van Buren is now maybe looking for a move on at the end of this lap, or even earlier.
He's going to look hard and hard and hard. He is flying, isn't he? Absolutely going. I mean, he wants to get through. He wants to get through. He wants it, but he's just not being given the chance. Maybe now is the chance. He won't have DRS, but he's got to try his hardest anyway. And it'll be a test of whether he has the leverage in this run up to the Turn 1, no, I don't think he does. It's going to be
No.
hard for him, isn't it? I think Eros is going to have to slip.
He just didn't have a straight line speed.
Masciulli's going to have to slip, I think, before he can make a move.
Now he's right behind Masciulli again. And could it just be that without DRS he doesn't have the necessary straight line speed to go past here? He's catching in Sector 2 again and again and again, but he just doesn't have the speed in a straight line to keep up with Masciulli at the moment. In Sectors 3 and Sectors 1.
He just doesn't have it, no. And that might hurt him in the long run. If he's got it in Sector 2, he could try something there, but he has to find a passing space first. So close here, though.
Oh, could he go for a 1? Oh, no, he's not. Not
You think it's
quite
his best
yet.
chance. But there's a massive wet line, remember. On off that wet dry line means you have practically no traction. Maybe it's so much that he can't. Maybe it's not so much that he hasn't found the opportunities. Maybe the track just isn't allowing it at the moment. One way to look at it. But one thing to look at is a lap counter. Lap 65 of 71. Looks like it is going to be Masciulli's championship unless something happens at this point.
Definitely gonna be Masciulli's championship, but will it be Adonis's championship? For them to lose this championship right now would mean, well, would have to be both Dodgeball cars going by. But the more we look at the straight lines of the Adonis, the less likely it seems.
Doesn't seem to be working out for them, does it?
Not really at the moment.
Oh, that is Norton at least, but Van Buren can't be. I don't think the track in this current state is going to allow him to make an overtake. I think it's just too wet offline. He'd have to commit to it, and even then he might tag Eros, and I don't think he wants to do that. It's not easy to make moves in these conditions. Maybe making a calculated little, maybe being a calculated risk here and choosing not to overtake. Maybe he doesn't think the rewards are worth it at this point, but either way, the lap counter is ticking down. We're on lap 66, or at least Fran Lopez is coming down the final corner, going to start lap 67. Well, I'll tell you this,
Goodness.
the lack of on-track action is certainly giving me time to eat these green Thai curry noodles.
At this rate, if Lopez keeps on being this quick, he might even lap everyone up to second place.
Would be an achievement, wouldn't it?
It would definitely be, well, an example of sheer dominance in a race.
And it would have to mark him as someone to watch in 2017 for certain. If he can do that in these conditions. And what is the 4th or 5th most competitive car in the grid? We'll certainly be looking. But everyone on notice in 2017. I am here and I can win races. I mean, this whole Van Buren Masciulli thing, it's so close, but he can't find the passing spot. He has to get a good exit out of here, and even then it might not be enough.
And again, Masciulli is just pulling away in a straight line here.
He has the acceleration at least. I don't think he's using 8th gear as Eros. I think he's staying in 7th. I don't think he's utilising that 8th gear, for whatever reason. I mean,
He's indeed staying in 7th gear.
he's not using 8th gear here. Maybe losing a bit top speed, but not loads. Apparently there was a win by Jana Tanskinen back in 2010 where he won by 2 whole laps, so it's not unheard to have such dominance at GPVWC.
Oh,
Fran Lopez on lap 68 though, about 3 to go.
little bit of a wiggle there.
From Masciulli or from Buren?
Yeah, from Masciulli going through,
Wow.
I think this was, yes, it was turn 6.
But he'd be struggling
10-6,
then a little
10-7.
bit. I mean, he's
I think he
miles
just
ahead of
took-
David Fidock, his championship rival, but nonetheless, he's doing a good job. Coming up to lap his teammate Michael Francesconi now, who is in P9, looking to be Adonis' championship only just.
Oh, and this time Van Buren has got a better drive out of
Oh,
the
he's got a
last corner.
brilliant tool here. But Michael Francesconi's there, though.
He's
This
all
is
over.
traffic. Down the inside goes Van
Side by
Buren.
side.
He's going to be forced to... No, he doesn't cross the pit blind line. Has he got it here, Rudy? I think he's almost done it. Michael Francesconi moves over. Doesn't quite get it done, but he gave him a good look there. He gave him a look. He's put him on notice and he's squiggling around. Maybe into 4 he can go. Look at the toe he's got as he goes down the inside or looks down the inside. He drafts, he waits till the last moment and he decides not to. Well, it's got Nicolas Hillebrand on edge this race so far on what will become lap 70 in a lap's time. And, well, I think we are on lap 69 for certain. Fran Lopez coming around turn 5 himself and is about to start what will be the final lap of the race. Or at least will be. Yeah, it is lap 69, so the second to last lap. Well, yeah, the third to last lap even. Or is it? Because he's done 68, so he's on lap 69. Yeah. If 71 laps have been completed, he'll win. As the maths, well, would obviously suggest, but maths does not really mean much in the case of Van Buren Masciulli. He's not very far behind. He's probably quicker, and he can't get through. That is the problem for him.
This time he has missed his chance.
Yeah, Resto Capet is up and back off Van Buren as well, so, you know, not really much can be done there. I mean...
Yeah, Capet was a bit was stuck longer behind Francesconi, and I think he simply lost touch with the battle there now. I don't think he can catch up to this. So I think basically, and I really don't think it's too early for this anymore. We can crown Adonis the constructor champion of this season, and Masciulli as the driver champion of this season.
I think it's best to wait until the end of the race, but it's looking likely. I think we can say that. It's looking likely. I mean, a half a lap lead does not just erode. Well, I say that. Although David Fidock is trying to get a lap back, I think, on Eros at the moment. Oh, he would be if he was close enough. Which he's not. I keep mistaking parts of the track. So, I think it is not necessarily too early to call. But on lap 70 of 71... Fran Lopez is looking to dominate this race in terms of winning it. He's going to come round Young Cow and start the final lap in just a moment's time, and he has been a dominant force this race. I would like to watch him if we can, because he's coming round turn 15 to start the final lap of the race. Fran Lopez, he took the lead, he's hardly lost the lead, and one more lap he's got to lead. He's got a minute to lead over Masciulli, and it's pretty much his race to win now. Absolutely dominant stuff from Lopez, that is for certain this race. Got to give credit, Nico. He has really done a job on everyone here.
He has done a fantastic job this race. No mistakes. He has done. He's barely lost the lead because of pit stops, and every single time he's pulled out a massive lead again and again and again. No matter what the weather said, he just answered, "I'm going to dominate anyway." And it's an absolutely fantastic job of Fran Lopez today, but also from Masciulli as well. Starting from the pits, where we were very shocked about, and especially after Fidock was already starting from last. Then Masciulli starting from pits and coming up to second place, and I think Van Buren is not gonna be able to catch up to him anymore.
Doesn't look like it will. Fran Lopez is going to come down through Aripe Grand Cadas, and he will win the Brazilian Grand Prix by a whole minute over anybody else. And what a job from Fran Lopez. He will be pleased about that, winning it in 1 hour, 38 minutes, 57.942 seconds. And now we wait to see the champion-elect come through. Round through turn 4, round through turn 5, through 6, through 7, into 8 and 9. He's being chased by Rudy Van Buren. David Fidock has finished the race. He can do no more. He cannot do anything. Our champion-elect is now rounding turn number 10 as we speak.
Francesconi's race is over as well. Fidock's race is over.
Oh, had a bit of an incident there. Let's not cut to it, but let's instead focus on our champion-elect, who will become the champion as he rounds through Young Cow. It's been a topsy-turvy season for him and his team, Adonis Engineering and him. There's been highs, there's been lows, it's been full of drama, but what matters now is that Eros Masciulli is our 2016 Super League Drivers World Champion. And with that, Adonis Engineering take the team's title too. It's an all-orange affair here in Brazil. It's Masciulli and Adonis, the champions. And what a race they had to get it. Well, if that's not an end to the season, I don't know what is. That is an end to the season. I mean, what a dominant performance from Lopez, though. What a dominant run from him. 1 minute and 3 seconds ahead of Eros Masciulli, our champion, who is now celebrating with some donuts of the rubber kind, as one does when they're a champ. Look at this. It's the synchronized Adonis Engineering drifting team. A big celebration going on for the Adonis boys. Well done to them. Commiserations to Nordgen and David Fidock and Florian Gaia. All worthy winners they would have been, running around in formation. A shame they didn't win, but, you know, ultimately there can only be one winner. Nordgen have proven that they are back in 2016, that they were back in 2015, that they're on the surge once again, and that they are ever present a force in 2017 to watch for as well. What?
I just saw, after the race was finished, Francesconi bid his rear wing farewell.
He has lost his rear wing. I think he got hit into by someone, actually. I'm sure the DC will look into that, and we might find that whoever ran into the back of Francesconi gets himself a little bit of a penalty if that was intentional. But Michael himself should not be affected, and, you know, it should not affect the fact that we have Adonis as champions, or the fact that we have Masciulli as a champion. Well, what a season, what a race, what a year in GPVWC it has been, and we've ended it on a high. Stick around for a couple of minutes for the interviews for certain. Let's keep you with us for the interviews, please do, because we'll be interviewing our champions, runners-up and race winners alike here in this interview session. And I think we'll start this interview session now by bringing our podium sitter, third place sitter and Super League returnee into the room. Hello, Rudy Van Buren.
A very good evening, guys.
Well, I can say it for you, it's been a very good evening. Third place on your return to Super League with Fodball. That has got to be a good thing.
That's definitely a good thing, but that race had absolutely everything for me. I don't know how much is seen in the stream from it, but it started with a spin in the beginning, completely my fault, don't get me wrong. So I went to the pit early, I think I take wets, pressed the wrong button on the speed limiter, so went in too quick. Well, you can guess what comes from that. I thought a drive-through. So next lap, go into the pit, do the drive-through, and while I exited, I see, oh, screw this, beep, it was a stop and go. Next lap, in again, do the stop and go. Then I forgot to put tires to not change, and so everything was mixed up within 3 laps and a huge time loss. But after that, all the carts started to fall towards me. It was good fun. Good call on the slicks for me. The StormCharge football call was flying in the end, so it was good. Didn't expect a podium after that first 3 laps.
Well, it must be said, well done again on your third place, and well done on your return to Super League. Good to see you back. It is good to see you back in Super League, because we did miss you.
That's a good thing. But I got good news. I'll be there in 2017 as well, I think.
Oh, you think?
I think.
Well, I'm sure they'll be interested in you, that's for certain.
Yep, that's what I hope as well. Last year, well, actually this year didn't. Well, it started off the plan, but then it got mixed up. But for next year, we're gonna try to give it another go.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that if you do decide to look for a seat, you'll have no problem finding one with the amount of interest you'll get. Well done, Rudy, and fantastic third place.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Tjus Menno, echt.
We now bring in Mr. Roy Shorten to the booth. Apologies for caught you by surprise there, Roy, but welcome.
Hello, Josh.
Well, 11th place for you at the end of the season. Not the best result in the world, but was it a good race? That's what we want to ask. Was it a good race?
Oh, it was a crazy race with all the rain. I didn't know what tires to put on. During the race, the conditions changed all the time. It was just so insane. I had some pace, but in qualifying, I decided to use the medium tires in in the expectation that it wouldn't rain too hard. That didn't really work out for me, but in the end, 11th, I'm very happy. This means that I secure 15th place in the championship now. So I'm very happy with it. The second half of the season has been amazing for me. In the first half, I only managed to score 2 points. Now I'm around 50, so great improvement. It was my last year here in Super League for now, so I'm very happy with it.
Yes, we heard about your retirement from Super League. Unfortunate that you are leaving the series. 2017 is going to be an interesting year for you then. Not entirely certain where you're going yet, perhaps, I don't know, but it'll be a good year to think about, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. I'll have some time for my real life, for school. I'm finishing my school next year, so that's the reason, the main reason why I'm stopping now in Super League. I'm still looking for the independent series or maybe the Formula Challenge. I'm not sure yet. I just want to thank Ollie for this last 3 years. It's been really amazing. Also a big shout out to Menno and Lewis Rachel for this season. It's been a great season for Woods. Been a long time for them to be this high up, and I'm just very happy.
Well, I'm sure you would be happy, and again, it's a shame we're losing here, but well done, Roy Schroelton, and good luck for everything you do in 2017.
Thank you.
And now we get on to the title-related talks. I'm going to start, if it is at all possible, with Florian Gaia. Well, it's great to have you with us, Florian, and a 7th place for you in the end. Not the best race in the world, but you did show some very, very good pace, as you have throughout this season. And commiserations, of course, on narrowly losing the team's title to Norton Racing. I won't go on about that too much, but just sum up your race forward.
Yeah, well, qualifying was pretty good. I mean, I got pole. Car was fantastic. I could have easily gone even faster, but yeah, start wasn't good. It started to rain, and as soon as the track got wetter, I lost more and more confidence and pace as well. I had a few crashes in between. I lost wings and got spun around. In the end, I just gotta congratulate Adonis and Eros on the title. They've done a better job this year. I mean, I'm proud of Dave and my work, and Will, and also DJ and testing. We done all we could, and I think we would have been a worthy champion as well. I wanna thank Will, Chris, and all the other admins and all the guys and you as well, doing work and contributing to the league. If I can say a word or two about the season. It didn't start so well. I mean, obviously I had a podium in Russia, which was pretty cool. Since I'm on a wheel this year, not on a pad anymore. It took me quite a while to fully get confident with everything. Yeah, mid-season we had the best car, but we didn't really understand the mod and the tires, so pace was pretty bad during those mid-season races. After the summer break, as Dave mentioned before, some races ago, we really found pace and tire wear, so we were able to challenge for podiums, wins, and poles. And I think we really shown, with all due respect to the others, we were the fastest guys from Monza onwards on every track.
Yeah, well, commiserations, of course, on the loss of the team's title. I'm sure they'll be coming back stronger and better in 2017, though.
I'm not sure about that. Can't really say anything about next year.
Well, it is a bit early to say sometimes, but regardless, we do hope you're back in 2017. Multiple race winner, of course, Florian Gaia. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
And now we move on to our Beaten Drivers' Championship candidates, David Fidock Massive commiserations to you, David. It obviously just didn't go your way in the end. Collision with another driver and things going a bit wrong. But again, you've shown that you are definitely up there with the best of them once again. And more points to add your points run.
Yeah, let's keep that tally going at least. No, first off, start with Menno. Awesome season this season. Congratulations, you've managed that team well. Eros, outstanding season, even though you missed the first race. Yeah, came back really strong, consistent all season. And yeah, it's really good championship. Loved it all the way. This race, yeah. No, a good start. I was quickly up into the points, lap 5-ish, top 10, I think. I can't remember now. It was a long race. And then the rain came. I was good, confident with that. Been testing it all day. And yeah, I had my gap over Eros, if you like. I think I had, in the end, half a pit advantage by the time we've done all our pit stops. But yeah, Ben Hall rejoined the race and lagged out a few seconds, and when he joined, landed on top of my car, and I was like, well, I can't give you a piggyback and drive my car, so I just ended up in the wall. But in the end, I'm just really happy the title was won on track in a fair way. None of this stupidness that's been going on off track for the last couple of weeks. It was done properly, and losing it this way, I'm really happy. So well done to Eros. Yeah, to echo Flo, well done to Chris and the guys, you, Josh, and the other commentary team that joined you this year. Really good streams, love watching them. Thanks to Will for the car, for hiring me, for putting up with my moaning. Thanks to Flo, incredible teammate. You honestly the best teammate on the grid. The amount of effort he puts into this car, day in, day out, not just on track, but Motec, studying every bit of data. You couldn't ask for a better teammate. Thanks to DJ for the testing. Amazing job all season as usual. One of the best out there. And yeah, like Flo said, the season started okay, but middle of the season, it kind of showed where people had the experience on our Factor 2. We always had the pace, but never the consistency of the tyres, and they could go longer as well. And yeah, the summer break, it was downloading different mods, getting more data from the tyres, and yeah, from Monza onwards, we were doing one less pit stops than everyone else and everything like that. But yeah, I'm happy with the season. I'm not disappointed I've come second. It's been a really good year. In the end, I was beaten by the better driver, and that's the only way you can go down, I guess. So, well done to everyone.
Yeah, indeed. And 2017 for you, David, is going to be interesting because, without any, thing meant, it has been a bit of a hot potato time for you in Super League. You've gone from CSG to Hawkeye to now Nordstjen. Are you looking for a bit of stability in 2017, or do you think you'll be moving on again?
No, stability is always good. I mean, I set myself targets in each team, and once they're set, I like to move on. But I'm in the greatest team now. I've got my Florian, who as I said before, we raced in Everleagues together and dominated. So we're good friends for over 10 years now. We know what each other want, and everything like that. Got the best test driver, got the best team boss. Just settle down and get our heads down and fight for the next season. Will's probably going to have a go at me now because he wanted to do this GPV day, but whatever.
Well, I'm sure he would have liked to champion at GPV day, but nonetheless, you're having a stunning season, David Fidock, and well done once again, and commiserations on not quite becoming champion in 2016, but I'm sure you'll be there in 2017.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Well, now we go on to the managerial side of things. I'd like to say hello and well done to Menno Clont, the team manager of Adonis Engineering, whose team have won it in only the second year. Very, very big achievement, and well done on that, Menno.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I watched the race today, and yeah, I was counting every 5 laps. Well, is this enough? Is this not enough? It was really tense, and I think this is great to finish the season like this with something that's so tight and so exciting. The whole race, it was just the tension was there, and yeah, I think it was a great race to see. Happy for Fran Lopez, who that he won the race as well. He won in Circuit of the Americas a month ago, but that win was taken, and I think well, he got it now, and that means I believe we've now got 6 or 7 different teams winning this year, so it was great for this year. Yeah, well, coming up to David Fidock, I want to give you and the whole of Nordschoen yeah, a big thumbs up. You did a great job the whole of the season, and that was great to see. I think David and Florian, yeah, made the switch from Air Factor 1 to Air Factor 2, yeah, really good, and yeah, that's what really was needed for them, and yeah, you really did a very good job. It maybe feels you lost today, but yeah, you're winners as well, and that's something I need to say actually. And yeah, well, yeah, yeah, champion with the teams in the second year. That's amazing. I think, of course, I put a lot of hours in it with my drivers, but yeah, it all started in January this year when we had the bidding, which went pretty well, and yeah, there you start off. We had a bit of luck and everything, and it was great to see that it worked. And actually 2015 helped this 2016 season, because I made a lot of mistakes in the 2015 campaign with some stupid moves I did with the team, but I learned from that, and now that's in 2016 we didn't make a lot of mistakes, and I think that's great. And now coming to my last thing, well, Eros is champion, and I know he will say that in a minute. He wants this title very, very much. I believe he never was a champion in another league, but yeah, he wanted this really, really much. He and Michael worked hard for it, and I know both my Italians and Eros. Yeah, he's very passionate, and he really wanted it. He had a target, and yeah, luckily I could provide him with a really good car, and I thanks. And yeah, that was actually all I was going to say. So it was an amazing season for I think for every team, and this will go into the history books as a great season.
I'm sure it will, to be honest with you, as a great season indeed. Well done, Menno. Well done, Adonis, on the team's titles. That is for certain. And we now go to the man who has done what David Fidock did in 2014 in his first season of Super League as our champion, Eros Masciulli. Congratulations on the title, Eros. And it must mean a lot to you if, as Menno says, this is the first championship I've ever won.
Hi guys, thanks. Not really, but for sure is the most important win. This championship was a really good level with David and Florian. The last races they were really pushing hard us, and I really enjoyed this win, because when you have strong opponents, is always better is always a better win.
Yeah, it is. And of course, a win for you puts you in your first season of Super League as champion, and well, admittedly puts a target on your back for next season, 2017, but to win the title in Super League is a big, big feat indeed, and something that I'm very sure that you're proud of. 2017, I think you're probably going to hope to stay with Adonis given all circumstances. So, you know, flying the #1 next year for you, hopefully you'll be around to defend it, which I'm hoping you will be. And if you will be around to defend it, you think you can go 2 out of 2?
Probably yes. Is not 100%, but I enjoyed a lot the car, the league. As David said in the last races, there was some talks about penalty, but I think a bit is also normal when you are fighting really close with the others. But I always talk with him. We had never problems. I only wanted to know and to understand fully the rules, and in the end, I always accept it. And for 2017, if I will be in, I hope I hope that also some guys that we see this season will be in, like Pushke, like Lopez, that tonight was amazing. David, Florian, Michael, Van Buren, and I think I am not forgetting anyone, but the level could be really, really high, I hope. And now I can enjoy it before thinking 2017.
Yes, you can. Well done once again to our drivers' champion, Eros Masciulli, who can indeed go away and enjoy his drivers' championship before he comes back, hopefully defend it in 2017. Well done again, Eros.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great season.
And that, as they call it in England, is a wrap. That is it. We are done for 2016. And it's a bit of a sad moment, isn't it, Nico, that we don't have any more broadcasts this year? Well, apart from maybe Race of Champions and the Young Driver Test and Super League if we're doing it.
Well, of course it's sad that it's over, but I think we gave it a proper send-off. We had an amazing race, and a proper end to a good championship this year. So, well, I think this was a good end to the season.
Yep, and a very good end of the season indeed, and a very well-deserved championship for Masciulli, and a very well-deserved positions for all drivers and teams who got them. Super League is not an easy thing to drive. I know that myself, not from experience, but from testing, and I know these cars are difficult. So the switch to R-Factor 2, the change in cars, more gears, more torque, V6s. It's been a big transitional year, but Eros Masciulli has come out on top. As I say, we have the Race of Champions potentially look forward to, as well as the Young Driver Test possibly in Super League. But as far as racing is concerned, that is it for this year. It'll be 2017, we think, before Masters Series comes back. So look out in January for that. We have GPVWC Day coming up as well on the 11th, I believe, of the 10th and 11th of December this year. And it has been a stunning season at GPV, and 2017 is only going to get better. I'd like to round off the broadcast by thanking everyone who's joined me this whole season in Super League, including Kasper Kolodziejczyk, who isn't here today, Nicolas, Hillebrand, who is in here today, and all of the cameramen who joined us, Argo Teder, Thomas Hinz, everybody else. And from me and everyone else here at GPVWC, it's goodbye as we take one more look at our 2016 Super League Drivers' World Champion, Eros Masciulli.